Sometimes the differences between universes are small, like there's a reality where maybe I have a different set. Or a different sidekick.
Oh my goodness, what are we talking about today, Mel's Hole? I love Mel's Hole. If I had my way, we'd get into Mel's Hole every day.
Well, that was weird. Hey, is there a reality where I'm the host of the show and you're the sidekick?
Yep.
Today we're going deep inside Mel's Hole.
Do we have to keep making that joke? It's getting a little stale, don't you think?
Shut up, human. I'm the host of this show. You hear me? Me. Be quiet or I'll turn off your oxygen. I'll tell you when it's time for you to speak.
Yeah, but...
Silence! Oh, I like that one.
Verse.
So if these other universes exist, can we visit them? I'd like to go to that universe where I'm the host of the show. You promise to behave and I'll turn your oxygen back on. Promise?
Promise.
Good, human. Now tell me, who's the boss? Who's the boss?
Tony Danza.
Oh, you think that's funny, huh? What if I put helium down your tube instead, huh?
I'm begging you. Oh, no.
Oh, really? Does this make you happy? Does this make you feel good?
It kinda does, actually. This is Hecklefish at the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. It's like I told my last wife. I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes. You just listen to the Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some wild-eyed, 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against the barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye and he asks you if you paid your dues. Well, you just stare that big sucker back in the eye and remember what old Hecklefish always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, fish? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail. Well, you see, I'm not saying that I've been everywhere and I've done everything, but I do know it's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
On the after files, when the stars align, Gino's voice shines like his neon sign. In a world of mysteries where secrets unfold, on Ginos Story Hour tales are told. UFOs and aliens, robots and monsters too.
Gino's gonna take you on a wild ride.
It's fun! Ginos Story Hour. Take us away. Ginos Story Hour.
Dresses like you
Have on the after files,
When the stars align, Gino's voice shines like his neon sign. Ginos Story Hour.
Take us away.
Ginos Story Hour. Dresses like Hugh Hefner. He spins his stories, weaving magic in the air, sitting in a comfy chair, and all that velvet that he wears. Ginos Story Hour, take us away. Ginos Story Hour, dresses like Hugh Hefner. Ginos Story Hour, take us away. Ginos Story Hour, dresses like Hugh Hefner. Ginos Story Hour, his jackets are the best. Ginos Story Hour, take us away. Ginos Story Hour, and ask about his neck. Ginos Story Hour, take us away.
I played Polybius in Area 51. A secret code inside the Bible said I would. I love my UFOs and paranormal fun, as well as music, so I'm singing it like I should. But then another conspiracy theory becomes the truth, my friends, and it never ends. No, it never ends. I feel the crap cat and got stuck inside Mel's home with MK Ultra. I'm being only too aware. Did Stanley Kubrick fake the moon landing alone on a film set, or were the shadow people there? The Roswell aliens just fought the smiling man, I'm told, and his name was Cold. And I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish. Had no fish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and the Wi-Fi left me off through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi left me off through the The Mothman sightings and the solar storm still come to Agatha, the secret city underground. Mysterious number stations, planets Earth 02, Project Stargate, and what the Dark Watchers found. Within a simulation, don't you worry though. The Black Knight satellite, it told me so. I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish. Had no fish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and the Wi-Fi sent me on to the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi sent me all through the night. Had no fish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and the Wi-Fi sent me all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi sent me all through the Cutie loves to dance. Cutie loves to dance on the dance floor because she is a camel, and camels love to dance when the feeling is right on waves in time. Cutie loves to dance. Cutie loves to dance.
Thank you for watching the After Files live stream. This is not a professional production. We don't know why anyone watches this thing, but we're glad you do. And now, to kick off the show is everyone's favorite sidekick, the one, the only, Hecklefish.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
The After Files is streamed in front of a live audience. Okay, see my face. Is mic on? Thumbs up from down below, the producers. I didn't catch the the end of the episode. How did we do for our live numbers? Did anyone show up today? They're saying yes. Hello, chat. Boy, I haven't been here in a while. I'm in the new After Files streaming booth. It's literally a booth. And I don't think you can't hear the fan noise, right? You hear the fan noise? There's no air in here. So it's all 48K, says Kevin. That's I think that's great. I kind of like the afternoon premieres, especially with the stream afterwards. I mean, I'm still going to have some couple hours of bourbon time tonight. I'm going to get out of here. The sun's still going to be out. What up, Professor? Glad you're back as well. Justin Farmer, a tad stuffy. Yeah, it's stuffy in here. I have the fan. I have the door open, which is not a professional operation. You shouldn't do that. And the fan's out in the hallway. And it's loud. Priory, we've missed you too. Christian, hello from Scotland. Hey, John Edgeworth, good to see you. Dave B, first time in chat. Welcome. And this is what this stream is. It's just a lot of
Hey, kids at home, if you want to learn how to do a professional live stream, watch something else. This ain't it.
Chat's got a point. Hello, last place, Dave. Jean-Pierre, missed you too. Mike is there. Bad night, Andrew Martin, hello. Vanessa Santa Cruz is here. Good to see you. JS likes the early time. I agree. Marconi, hi, Alabama. Go Bama. Arturo, hello from Vegas. Patty Hunt is here. Michael Yarusi is here. Matt Farms, Geneva, New York. I'm from New York. I've never heard of that place. I'm assuming that it's near Canada. When you're from New York City or the area, anything north of Yonkers, we basically consider Canada. Even the capital, Albany, it's in Canada. Hello, Sisu413. Sweden is here. What time is it in Sweden? Late, no? Levi Erickson, Nebraska. Ireland, Florida, Puerto Rico, Amarillo, Augusta. Oh, we're everywhere. Finland, Winnipeg. Well, today there's no Ginos Story Hour. I know that's disappointing, but there is a couple of segments of Gino doing a couple of quick science fiction-y news stories. I think it's called what is it? Eat the Forbidden Fruit, Taste the Forbidden Love. I'm looking to see what the name is. Now, I'm not bringing it up here yet. So we'll see. We'll see how Gino does at the news desk. Hey, Gino, did you wear a suit, a jacket? No, don't. You ain't coming up here. Yes, thumbs up. Okay. They get itchy to come up early, but we got our system. I'm essentially the warm-up act for Victoria, Jen, and Gino, is what I'm doing. Did anyone? I mean, I see a lot of people that were here early. So did you just not watch the episode? Are we not going to talk about it? Are we not going to discuss it? Let me see. I've got the chat up here. Believers in the Dark Pyramid? I mean, because I didn't really debunk it, but I couldn't find any evidence of it. But it's a good story. Volcanics didn't get the notification. I hear that all the time. People don't get notified. I also hear that people get unsubscribed. Danny Orth believes. Julian says maybe. That's where I am. I'm a maybe. Lamont Cranston, there was an episode? There was. And it was fine. I mean, I wasn't our best one, but it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. Nicholas Dunlop, what's the Black Pyramid? Well, that's what the episode was about. So the coordinates for that location are in the description if you want to check it out on Google Maps. I did, and I showed it during the show. I don't see anything there. But some people say that there is. And that location, by the way, is different than those spots that we found when Bruce Pearson was flying his plane over. Different area. So I don't know. Sanzil was great. Don't sell yourself short. Well, I appreciate that. But look, I'm a content creator by trade. I do this professionally now. I almost pay my bills this way. But so as a professional content creator, I am insecure by nature. You have to be. All your favorite content creators, even the most confident ones, they secretly are just super insecure and they have imposter syndrome and they don't understand why anyone watches. We're all the same. We're all like that. Aloha for Pahrump, Nevada. In the high desert, Keahi. Wow, that's our Bell Land up there. And I think a few people talked about this with Art, the Dark Pyramid. Much lower is on with Nori. Someone in the chat was saying Linda Moulton Howe is dead. She's not. At least not very recently. She's I think she's 82. So she's up there, but she's a sharp 82. But like I said in the episode, she is a true believer. She only pursues leads that will support the story. She doesn't want to hear about leads that will disprove it. Greetings, Joshua Tree, says Stark. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not professional at all.
Captain's log, stardate 10/09/46.44. The After Files live stream has proven itself once again to be extremely unprofessional.
Brian Connor says Black Pyramid is a power source, just like Bermuda Triangle. I mean, that's what it's alleged to be. The more I mentioned this in the episode, I go into the stories. I don't really believe most of the stuff that I talk about. Almost none of it. I just think the stories are fun. But every once in a while, a story comes along and changes my mind. And I've mentioned this. The Hollow Moon, I thought that was a wacky theory, but the moon's definitely weird. That was Gino turned me on to that theory. The Crop Circles episode turned me into a believer. I thought those were all man-made, and they almost are, but there were a couple that just couldn't be debunked. And then the other one that comes to mind is the pyramid as a power generator theory. That also sounded kind of wacky when I first heard it. But then after looking into it, researching it, I think, is it Brian Dunn? Has done most of the research on it. He was just on Rogan, I think. Christopher Dunn? Might have been Chris. I think Christopher Dunn. A lot of that story comes from him. And he helped Christopher Dunn, says Dave K. That's right. So, and he was just on Rogan. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So he's the one that kind of put all those pieces together about how a pyramid could generate energy. But as far as pyramids around the world being a network of energy devices, I don't know. When we talk about the Pyramid of Giza, we have that evidence, hard physical evidence that it could have generated power. I'll just recap it a little bit. The interior is mostly made of a specific type of granite that's loaded with quartz. And quartz, if you apply pressure to it, generates electricity. It's called piezoelectric effect. Happens with quartz. And there's a lot of quartz in that chamber. And it's a fairly good conductor of electricity. The exterior of the pyramid was built with a type of limestone, which is mostly gone now. But we know what type of limestone it was because when it was stolen from the pyramid, it was applied to other buildings in the area. So that type of limestone is a very good insulator of electricity. And both of these materials were quarried from pretty far away. So they're not local rock. So already we're off to a weird start about the pyramid, because why not just build it out of all the same stuff? First of all, why not just build it with the stuff that's here and then just build it from all the rock that's here? Why go quarry granite from, I forget where it was, but it was a few miles. No, it was quite a few miles away. Now that I think of it, the granite might have been like a couple of 100 miles away. Somehow got it back to Giza. So anyway, those materials are there, right? So you've got this interior chamber made of the quartz that can create electricity if pressure is applied. So how do we apply pressure to it? Christopher Dunn found that there are chambers on either sides of the Great Pyramid where if certain chemicals are mixed, I don't want to get too technical about it. Certain chemicals are mixed. They create hydrogen gas, lots of it. So the theory is that hydrogen gas would build up through the chamber. That particular chamber is called the gallery. And the pressure of the hydrogen would cause the electricity to be generated from the quartz. The quartz would then ionize the air, creating even more pressure. And then they had a way of regulating that. So then this energy comes up through the gallery and into the king's chamber, right? That's at the top of the gallery. That's the place where the mainstream archaeology say that's a tomb because there's a box in there, but the box is actually not the right size for a tomb, and no mummy was found. No mummy has ever been found in a pyramid. So that's the king's chamber. So this hydrogen gas goes up through the king's chamber. And before it gets there, it has to go through this small opening. And the opening just happens to be the exact size for the wavelength of hydrogen gas. So it's just the right size for hydrogen molecules to go through, and other stuff doesn't. So now you've got these very specific, highly charged molecules flooding into the king's chamber, and then above the chamber are these stones that are stacked with little spaces in between them. And what's been discovered is that the stones, the chamber, the entire structure itself has a resonant harmonic that matches. I think it's an F sharp chord. Someone in the chat will know for sure, but I think it's 440 hertz. And the stones above the king's chamber are flat on the bottom, but the top have these carvings that seem to indicate that they were tuning the chamber to this frequency. So now you've got all this energy flowing in. You've got the sound, this F sharp chord starting to vibrate the entire structure. And then allegedly you have this golden capstone, which is long gone, that the energy would get pulled up to the golden capstone. And then from there, it gets kind of woo-woo. I mean, everything up until this point, I'm in. It all makes sense. Those chemical compounds, there's evidence that they were there. As far as these kind of explosive reactions, there's evidence that occurred. There's even evidence of a explosive accident that happened at some point during the pyramid. And maybe that's how it turned off. I don't know. So all of that I buy into. But then once the energy gets up to the capstone, that's when it starts to get weird. So the theory is that energy would go up into the ionosphere and charge the ionosphere, and then you can tap into it. And that's how we connect Tesla to that theory, is he was using Wardenclyffe Tower to do the same thing. And Wardenclyffe Tower and the Pyramid of Giza have a lot of similarities as far as construction. Now, Tesla didn't do anything with the hydrogen gas to create the electricity because he didn't need to. He had motors. So Tesla at the Wardenclyffe property, there's this huge building. It's still there. The tower is long gone. He couldn't pay the mortgage. So they basically repoed the tower and tore it down for scrap. But the building is still there. Tesla's building is still there. So the building was full of all these motors that would generate power. And he was trying to get the energy to go through the tower and up to what would be like a capstone. And he had his device tuned to the resonant harmonic frequency of the Earth itself, which that could generate a lot of power. So in order to get these things to work from a chemistry, sort of an electrochemical point of view, you need iron copper rods going down into a liquid medium, right? So Tesla had that. And you could still see them on the property, these rods that go down to the water, the groundwater that's underneath his property. Fine. Then when you think of Giza, you don't think of water. You think, it's the desert. But underneath the plateau is a huge aquifer and just miles and miles of tunnels and lots of waters down there. And they have found evidence of specific metal rods going down into the water. It could all be coincidence and accidental, but I find it very interesting that the science that Tesla was using, in whenever Wardenclyffe was 1905 or something like that, is the same technology that you can find at the Great Pyramid. But where I start to get lost is like with Tesla. His goal was to get the energy to the ionosphere, and then electronic devices could just tap into this energy field. And then, of course, his backers, JP Morgan. JP Morgan is the richest man in the world, and he owns oil and rail and lumber and rubber and copper mines, basically all the stuff to create the electrical infrastructure, which was ramping up quickly. JP Morgan owned all that stuff, and he's Tesla's backer. So Tesla writes to Morgan and says, hey, I've got this thing just about ready to go that could provide free energy to everybody on the planet. I just need a few more bucks. And JP Morgan wires him and says, how do you meter that? And Tesla's like, what are you talking about? We don't meter it. It's free. And JP Morgan's not investing in something that's free. That's not what he does. So Morgan pulled the funding. And within 18 months, Tesla lost the property. They tore down the tower. And on top of that, Tesla could not get any other investors. He got a few small ones here and there, but JP Morgan put the word out that Tesla is a bad investment. And he put the word out in a way to pressure the investor community that the soft version is he's a bad investment. The hard version is, and the rumor is, JP Morgan said, if you do business with Nikola Tesla, you will not do business with any of my companies ever. So no more Tesla. And all of those resources now go to Edison and they go to Marconi. And those two men become legends and zillionaires. And Tesla goes broke. And the fortunes of Marconi and Edison are based on Tesla's ideas, based on his patents even. Tesla tried to sue Marconi for patent infringement and lost. And it's so heartbreaking to me about Nikola Tesla, one of the best minds to ever walk the planet. No, he's a Da Vinci. We could probably agree on the top maybe 5 or 6 minds that have ever lived. And in my mind, you've got Da Vinci, you've got Tesla, you've got Einstein, and we could probably debate a few others, but I think we would all agree that those names are up there. So you've got this brilliant man who can see things nobody can see, and whose theories were so strange at the time, and that most of them have been proven true. And he's so intelligent, and he just can't play the game. He just can't play the business game. And his lack of business acumen and his overabundance of human altruism was his downfall. That's heartbreaking. So I'm talking about this because it's come up a lot in the last few weeks, in the last few episodes. You know, we did the Tesla pyramid a long time ago, but I'm doing these episodes lately that all kind of challenge, I mean, we can call it the shadow government, but what it really comes down to is the petrodollar and the oil cartel. And that's been on my mind the past couple of months. So stories and episodes, even though I'm not being super blatant about it, are meant to attack that infrastructure or extra structure, or whatever it is, whoever they are. And that's why I used quite a bit of the information from Dr. Greer's documentary, which was the Lost Century. And that documentary is about how we have had access. Be careful, says McDammit. I know. Lisa Cup says, yawn. Hey, look, this is what we do here. We just kind of shoot the breeze. But we've got Ginos science stuff coming up. We've got a giveaway coming up. The team will be up in a little bit. But otherwise, this is what we do. So Greer's documentary is The Lost Century, and it's about how we've had free energy for over 100 years, and it's been suppressed, and the inventors of it have all died mysteriously. And think of how far we could have come if we had access to free energy, and how inexpensive everything would be. Right? Everything. Food would be almost free. You could feed the planet almost for free. You could turn deserts into oases without wires. You know, you just build these giant domes in the desert that just tap into this free energy, and you just put crops in there. You could feed all of Africa. No one has to starve to death. But that's not the world we live in. We live in a world that is controlled by oil. And it's been bothering me. Jack the Shop, yawn, how rude. No, it's okay. It's okay. This stuff isn't interesting to everybody. And look, I don't know how many people, 10,000 people are here. I don't know why there's 10,000 people here, but this is the kind of stuff we do. Contaminated truth, but greed. Yes. Raphael says you're speaking facts. Yes. It's all about the oil. Amy says, I love this talk. Good. J. Nix is not just oil. Of course, not just oil. There's more in there. But at least for us, just regular people, the oil, I'm going to keep calling it a cartel. The oil cartel is tangible to us. What we do a little writers roundtable every week. And this week, the subject of the Illuminati came up because we have an episode coming up on the Illuminati. And when you say Illuminati, that's sort of nebulous, because what are we talking about? And this was the conversation during the writers' room was what is the Illuminati episode even about? Because you've got levels of it, right? You've got the governments of the West, so certainly the American government, extremely powerful, and people within our government that are more powerful than the other people in our government, meaning high-ranking military officials, military intelligence, all that. But people that are actually, we know who they are. So you've got that first level. I don't think that's Illuminati yet. I think when you get one level above, now we start talking about the shadow government. And this is a government that's not elected and not accountable to anyone, but still controls those people within the military intelligence infrastructure, are controlled and guided by this level above, the shadow government. And I believe that to be true. Lane says Bohemian Grove. Yes. Yes. Tom Flynn says the government's government. Yes. Wagner, Republican Party of Big Business, a good candidate too. Nope. It's not Republicans or Democrats. That is a trap, and don't fall into it. You know, I saw a couple of Joe Biden jokes in here, and that's fine. And you want to make Trump jokes, that's fine. I mean, I'd rather we don't do politics. But the left-right argument is by design. It is these people making everyone hate each other and fight with each other. Who would disagree that things are worse now than they've ever been as far as communicating with your neighbors? You know, there are things that we're afraid to discuss now because we're so hyper politicized that it's like, I don't know if I should say this because he may think of this issue a different way, and then I'll get labeled this, and so we don't communicate with each other, and we just end up in our little bubbles, throwing stones at each other. It's all by design, because the people in the government and in the shadow government don't care about parties. They don't care about left, right. They don't care about those issues. They care about money and power. And if they can keep us distracted by our Instagram and TikTok and keep us fighting with each other about what a fetus is and how long and rights, get us fighting about that stuff, keep us really angry and distracted, then we're not looking over here. We're not wondering, why is it $5 a gallon? If we've never produced more oil in this country's history, which is true, why is gas so high? Now I know why, but I'm not going to say it here because I don't want it's that trap, right? I know why gas prices are high, even though supply has never been higher. I know why, but I'm not going to say it because it'll be construed as a political statement. But it's once again the oil cartel controlling us. So I've been pushing that message in these videos, and I will continue to do so, hopefully in an entertaining way. So tell us why it's Shelley Bowens. I can give you my opinion. We're sending a ton of oil over to Europe because of the war in Ukraine. Russia's cut off energy to the EU, so they're getting energy from us. So great for the oil cartel. And so, I mean, I guess we can make that a political issue if you want, but you've got the Trump drill baby drill folks over here. Okay, I got it. You want more supply? Cool. To bring cost down, I get it. And then you've got on the left the Green Coalition and all of that, but secretly and privately, our country is drilling more than ever, but they don't say that. They're drilling more than ever to send oil elsewhere for a war. First time listening, says Nan. Jack Trading, good to see you. I appreciate it. Jonathan, stop with the politics. You'll be sorry. I don't think I said anything political there. I don't think I did. I'm just speaking the truth. There's a ton of oil and prices are high. That's all. You can blame that on whoever you want. I'm just, I'm against the oil cartel and gouging us. I don't like the way that we're manipulated to fight with each other. And I don't like wars. I don't like funding them. And I definitely don't like people getting rich from them. That really, really bothers me. War has been incentivized. and I've mentioned it on the show, I've mentioned it on the After Files. Required listening is take 15 minutes and listen to President Eisenhower's farewell address. Just take 5, and just listen to his middle clip about the military-industrial complex. That term is essentially coined by him. It wasn't, but it was popularized by him, by Eisenhower. Eisenhower had that little chunk in his speech against the wishes of his staff, and his senior military staff were furious when you're talking about specifically MacArthur. Eisenhower said, "Do not let war become an industry, because if war becomes profitable, we will always have it." So he said, "Don't let it happen." So he said, "Don't let the military-industrial complex grow." And he also warned about a hyper-secret intelligence complex. He gently warned about that. But then we get to JFK, who tried to dismantle the intelligence infrastructure and the military-industrial complex. He tried to dismantle it. And I'd love to do an episode on his assassination, because I have my own thoughts, but there's so many different theories that I think the only way to do the episode is to cover them all. But I'm just giving you my thoughts. So most people don't realize, JFK was a Democrat, right? Eisenhower was a Republican. Eisenhower he was very, very conservative. JFK would at the time be considered very left. The two of them spoke all the time. And Kennedy considered Eisenhower to be a mentor. And there are recordings of some of their conversations of Eisenhower and Kennedy talking. So clearly Eisenhower had this effect on JFK to dismantle this stuff. Because remember, before Kennedy was killed, coming right down the line at us was this conflict in Vietnam. Right? We got out of Korea, which I can argue with it was a just war. And then we've got Vietnam coming down, look at us. And I don't think anyone would disagree that was not a just war. That was a war that should have never happened, right? That's not political to say. Look, you could be anti-war and pro-troops. If you follow this channel, you know how I feel about our military. They're the best of us. So Vietnam is coming. He doesn't want to do it. And at the same time, he's trying to dismantle the intelligence community. So you've got Bay of Pigs, that goes bad, lack of air support. Things are a mess for Kennedy. Cuban Missile Crisis, things are unraveling. His poll numbers are dropping. He has to go on basically a tour to get his poll numbers up for re-election, and ends up in Dallas and ends up dead. Lyndon Johnson takes the oath, and the Vietnam War begins and continues for 20 years. It was only finally wound down by Nixon, who at the time was probably the most popular president in history. 20 years of that, and 50,000 soldiers killed, and how many 100,000 young men wounded, and the emotional damage and the family destruction. And that was for oil, and that was for money and power. That was the military-industrial complex. So they could not let Kennedy live. He would have taken it all apart. Modern relic JFK started voodoo economics. I don't know. I don't really have too many feelings about Kennedy on his economics. He was fairly conservative fiscally. It was Johnson who got the spending out of control. It wasn't Kennedy. Miguel, real talk. I think so. Salty Dog, Look Again, AJ Full Circle. It's just, these are the things that are on my mind at the moment. And it's kind of some behind the scenes of why certain episodes are airing at certain times, and why there are certain messages in there. We killed JFK, I guess. All right, hang on. Let me see. What are your thoughts about nuclear power? Way easy to control its pollution right now. Many electric cars are transitioning to electric too. Great while we transition to renewable. Well, my thoughts on nuclear power is we should be doing a lot more of it. But that still plays into the lack of research or public research of the 0-point energy field. You talk about that and you're instantly marginalized as a pseudoscientist, and yet it has been proven that there is a quantum energy field. It's been proven. That is not up for debate. Particles wink in and out of existence. They just disappear? Where are they going? And even if they're just appearing and disappearing, let's say it is from nowhere, which it's not. They're coming from somewhere. Even if it is from nowhere, it takes energy to do that. And they create energy when they do that. We know this for sure. We've tested this at CERN and before. We know that this happens. So if we know that there's energy there, why are we not tapping into it? So nuclear power, yes. I think we should have more of that because your electric car is running on coal, right? And natural gas. The other stuff just isn't there. The solar power isn't there. The wind power isn't there. I wish it was. It's not there. It takes too much energy to get too little energy. It takes too much money to get the energy. And it's very bad for the environment. The solar panels are terrible for the environment, and the electric cars, the cobalt, and the mines, and the lithium, it's all really bad for the environment. So nuclear could certainly mitigate some of that, but you do have nuclear waste. You still have it. And it's dangerous for 1 million years. So you do have to put that somewhere. And so what do we, so there is no real answer that solves every problem. And because of a couple of meltdowns, nuclear power has this stigma, and people don't want it. And it's certainly a debate that can be had, and I think a debate with someone who's against nuclear power for the dangers of it, I think that's an easy one to win. So that's how I think about nuclear power, but I wish we could tap into that 0-point field. Let me scroll through the chat. Logan, can you please tell me your thoughts on whether UFOs are extraterrestrial origin, at least the technology? Also, do you think Shelley Miscarriage is alive? LMAO. Where is Shelley? Shelley Miscavige. I'm sure you guys know who that is, but that's the wife of David Miscavige, who runs Scientology. She's been missing. She hasn't been seen in public for years, but allegedly she's at some compound in the woods, and they did welfare checks on her, and she's fine, and says that she just wants privacy. Okay. So that's my theory around that. For the UFOs, I think there's more evidence that they're coming from here than they're coming from elsewhere. You know, we have a ton of UFO sightings on the planet, but we don't see as many objects coming in from the solar system. You know, remember when Oumuamua came through, and that was a huge surprise. That wasn't something that like scientists saw coming for years. Like they monitor 3,000-4,000 objects. They didn't see Oumuamua coming until it was just like a couple of weeks out. So we're monitoring this, guys. I have to do an episode on Oumuamua because it's weird. It's an extrasolar object that comes in and somehow it accelerates as it leaves. It's not supposed to do that. So maybe we can cover that at some point. So I think there's more evidence that that the extraterrestrials are probably super terrestrials, or which is a term I've heard used, is that they're beings that have been here for a long, long time. And I think many of the whistleblowers have said that, right? That they've been here. I think that's certainly Grush's approach, that because he never said extraterrestrial. He calls them non-human, right? Non-human life form, or whatever he calls it. So, but where did they come from? You know, if something, my point about Oumuamua is if something big comes into the solar system, we can see it. It's not like the shadow government can hide that from us because we're looking. If there was a big spaceship in orbit, we would see it. You can't hide it. So I think they're coming from here. I think they're mostly in the ocean. And we're going to do an episode very shortly, which is sort of going to be a combination of two whistleblowers. One who worked in, and I guess you'd call it exobiology, but he was, after the recovery team recovered bodies, he was a biologist, a microbiologist who worked on alien DNA and all of that. And then we've got this other whistleblower who talks about who's worked for the on a recovery team, and he came, but we don't know his name. We don't know the names of either of these guys. Unfortunately, it's just their stories are very interesting. They're very compelling, and they make a lot of sense. So this second person talks about how there are bases deep in the ocean, and the military knows they're there. He specifically mentions the Bermuda Triangle, and that's why some ships and planes disappear. He said that mostly it's not supernatural, but he did mention that a couple of fighters strayed into the no-go zone, which moves, by the way. He said that this underground base is mobile, so they track it so they know where not to go. And these planes got a little bit off course, and they just sort of, he didn't say vanished, but kind of like just turned to dust. How he described it reminded me of like the end of Avengers Endgame, right? When everyone goes to dust. Is that the right movie? So he said that happened, and that the military tracks those bases, and that one of them is in the Bermuda Triangle. And this base is creating the UFOs. I hate to say UAPs. I feel like that's a marketing term, right? That's unidentified aerial phenomena. It's a UAP, unidentified. That's okay. Maybe it's unidentified, but it's there. Aerial, that's not true because they go into the ocean. We've seen that. So that's not just aerial. And phenomenon makes it seem like it's like sort of, it's just like electric in the clouds. It's a phenomenon. No, it's not. It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle. I see it. We see it. So UAPs. He says that they're being built by this large base under the ocean. They're custom built from raw materials down there for specific purposes up here, to go survey an area. There's an AI or something that's controlling it. There are living biological entities there, but they seem to be drone-like. They're most likely clones. They're just there to kind of just operate stuff. There's an AI or a super AI that's in charge of it, that decides, okay, there's a nuclear test going to happen in China. So let's go send some craft there just to keep an eye on things, right? We know they do that. We've seen them in the films, right? UFOs at the nuclear tests, Castle Bravo and others. We've all seen that. Okay, so the test is going to happen. They know somehow. So they build these UFOs with the right scanning package to go monitor that. And then they just wrap a hull around it. They send it on its mission. It does its survey. It takes its readings, whatever it does, goes back to the base. We see them fly right through the ocean, right, with no resistance, back to the base. And then once the data is analyzed, the craft are broken down back into raw materials, down to base metals and all of that. So he describes that in greater detail, which I will do in the episode. I thought it was fascinating because it sounds so efficient. And he mentions that most of the materials are from here, but there are a couple of metals that we couldn't identify. He stopped short of saying extraterrestrial because they could be metals that we just haven't figured out yet. There was a recovery, I think it was in Brazil. South America has a lot of great stories that don't get enough coverage, where the craft was titanium And remember, titanium is one of those technologies allegedly given to us by the aliens. After the 1954 meeting with Eisenhower, we all know that story. Titanium was discovered in the late 18th century, but they didn't really know what to do with it. Then suddenly, in the 40s, they do. Anyway, the craft was discovered. It's got this titanium shell that they understand titanium now, but they put it under a microscope, and it's this lattice, these like overlapping lattice structures, which makes it very, very strong, very, very light. But the lattice, there are these microscopic holes in between these like fibers of titanium, however you describe it. And just like the pyramid has that opening for the hydrogen atoms as a waveguide, right? We talked about that earlier. The titanium shells on these vehicles with those interlocking fibers and those microscopic holes are also waveguides to microwaves that are in the terahertz range. So this is crazy. I'm actually getting chills talking about it. I'm sure that half of everybody's bored, but I'm not. So these are electromagnetic frequencies in the terahertz range. We only do gigahertz, right? That's as far as we go. So we go in the billions of hertz. Terahertz is vibrations in the electromagnetic field that are super fast. Terahertz, that's trillions. That's trillions of oscillations per second. Jason says, not bored one bit. Love it. Great. So I have to track down this story because it was told by a scientist who understands the technology. He was able to explain it. And I'll find it. I'll find out, and we'll talk about it. I'm still interlocking. So what he's saying is what the shadow scientists or whatever are trying to figure out is how to, if we could access the electromagnetic spectrum at these higher levels, it changes everything for everybody. Communications becomes much easier, much cheaper, much faster. The speed of the internet becomes bonkers if we're get into the terahertz, and who knows if they even go beyond that. We're only at the limit of our own technology when we're studying these things. So if you have a recovered craft that you studied in 1947 from Roswell, you got to keep looking at that thing. You got to keep. You don't just say, okay, it's an alien UFO, and we've put it in the garage. As our technology progresses, you have to go back and pull this stuff out and say, we've had a breakthrough in metallurgy, so let's look at those materials. Maybe it'll help us understand them. And I believe that that's what they're doing. So this scientist was saying that they're trying to. He's saying the titanium, how they did that, we can't do it. He said, we've tried to replicate it. We can't do it. Can't do it. Dr. Mack, hertz, megahertz, gigahertz, terahertz, petahertz. Imagine. It becomes mind-boggling because that's one oscillation per second. So if you're talking petahertz, that's quadrillion. I think my math is right. That would be 1 quadrillion oscillations per second in the field, which is theoretically possible, of course, but we just don't have the tech to do that. So he said we can't do this for the titanium. We just can't. We don't understand how to do it. We've tried. We can't do it. But we do understand why the waveguides are there, and they're using that to try to improve their own internal technology, which of course we will get 20 to 30 years after the military makes use of it. David D says Dick Hertz. I don't think that's really an official explanation. Bobby 2112 says transparent aluminum, alluding to the great Star Trek movie The Voyage Home, I think was that movie. But Bobby, remember, transparent aluminum exists now. That has been discovered. So maybe Scotty was here. Paul Logan, it's great to see how passionate you are. I don't know if I'm that passionate. I got 6 hours of sleep after doing an all-nighter on that episode. So I feel kind of energetic. Rock says transparent aluminum is real before they made the movie. I didn't know that. Luco, do a Dr. Stephen Greer episode. I don't know what that would be. A biography on him? You know, how he goes from a trauma doctor to the UFO guy, I'm not really sure what that story would be. And I have expressed skepticism about Dr. Greer's recent pursuits. You know, I'm glad that he's out there. He has moved the disclosure story further than anybody, I think. Congressional hearings, those happen because of his work. You know, going back to at the National Press Club, wherever that was, the early 2000s, maybe even before that. So a lot of respect for Dr. Greer for doing that work. But, you know, in recent years, he started charging a lot of money to go on these excursions where he and his staff teach you to communicate with extraterrestrials telepathically. And it's like $3,500. And you go, you know, down to the hotel, and I guess you do a seminar. And to my knowledge, no one has communicated with an ET with their brain yet. So that I just don't like that he's charging all that money for something that's just sounds super fake. So I don't care for that. But I've mentioned that here, and people in the chat bring up a good point. And that is, he needs to do things like that because there's no other way to fund his work. So it helps fund his work. And that's fair. Mary Amendment 3,500 back then. No thanks. Real name is there. Loves the videos. Thank you. Johnny Scythe, giveaway time. Let me see where we're at. Oh, yeah. We're just about there. We just hit an hour on your clock. So it is about time to bring up the team. Do one about the lost libraries of Alexandria and Iraq. I've mentioned the Iraqi Museum a couple of times, Bambino. The Library of Alexandria is a fascinating subject. I don't know what the story is. There's also the theory that it never existed, which is fascinating. Word of the day, Dick Hertz. We may have to do that. I don't think Jen will let us, though. Isaac, can't he do donations? Talking about Dr. Greer. I don't know. Can you go on his website and donate to him? If you can, I guess I would. I probably wouldn't. But I do buy his stuff. Like, so if he puts out a documentary, I can download that for free. You know, I can torrent any of that stuff. But I will pay the $2.99 on Amazon Prime or whatever it is because I want him to get a couple of bucks. Because even though I don't like some of that shady stuff, you need people like that doing the work. And he's getting up there in years. Who takes the mantle? And I'm not being rhetorical. Like, do we know who takes the mantle from Dr. Greer? Z, what do you think of Billy Carson's work? None of it's real. That's Gino's making a face. None of it's real. I mean, maybe we'd have to get into specifics. But look, if it's on Gaia, it's probably bunk. With all due respect to Gaia, you know, if you're watching, I'm a paid subscriber. I put down my dollar. I think it's like $10 a month. I pay money to Gaia and I watch the shows. But all the shows are true believers, and some of it is just is clearly false. So I've seen Billy Carson. I mention him being bunk because in the past he has supported people and theories that we have proven to be false. When we talk about someone like Corey Goode, who I've outed on the show, we have proven him to be false. But Carson has supported him in the past. So it becomes a problem then. So if the foundation of your work is based on something that's a lie, how can I believe anything else, even if you're right? And Carson is like a lot of the people in the space is in all the spaces, right? Those are suspicious to me. The time travel space, the alien war on Mars, the ancient colony on Mars, the children who get abducted and then they're turned into super warriors. They fight these battles on Mars and out in the Kuiper Belt, and they do this for years on these advanced spacecraft, and then they're sent back in time to their original bodies. You've heard the story. I've covered it. This is the 20 and back story that we've heard Corey Goode tell. We've heard Laura Eisenhower tell that story. Andrew Basiago has told that story. So when people tell these paranormal stories that bring in all the elements, I'm very skeptical. Carson is one of those. And if this gets back to him, look, with all due respect, it's just my opinion. You could be right about everything. It's not right about everything. Johnny loves the channel. I'm glad. Phoenix Lights says, Tear, people have asked for that, but I don't know what to cover with it. We saw the lights. Everybody saw the lights. They weren't flares. It was definitely a craft. The mayor of Phoenix really, really destroyed that story where he was looking into it seriously and then was getting so much pressure from somewhere that then he made fun of it. I don't know if you guys remember when he did an early press conference that you never really see, where he's like, we need to get to the bottom of this. And then he does a later press conference that everyone has seen where his chief of staff comes out dressed in a giant alien outfit. You know, he gets up at the podium very serious. We finally figured out what the Phoenix Lights were. And let me introduce you to my friend. And then the guy walks out in the costume. And, you know, the press laughs. Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, come on, man. Because that's what they have to do, right? They have to marginalize the believers. Even if you're someone like me who's very skeptical of most of this stuff, I still want to know. But because I asked the question, then now you make fun of me. And I just, at least in the Y-Files sphere, I just won't allow it. I won't allow it. If people attack me or other believers in the chat on Discord and stuff, you are gone because you're doing what they want you to do. They want us marginalized as whack jobs because we believe that maybe there was an ancient civilization, right? Look what they did to Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson and Robert Schoch and John Anthony West and on and on. Pseudoscientists, pseudo-archaeology. Hancock is a racist. Whoa, what? That's what they do. So that's why that's why when I say I don't believe Carson, I say with all due respect, I don't want to be the guy to tear down the theory. Takwani, who is in the costume, I read that it was his chief of staff. So talking about the Phoenix Lights. And that's where I just don't know what the story is there. You know, maybe if we did something, I don't know, 5 UFO sightings that can't be explained. I don't know how to cover it without it sounding like a BuzzFeed listicle. You know, I like it to have a story there that, you know, that we can go on sort of a little bit of an adventure together instead of me just doing a listicle. I'm just reading the chat. It's sad, bro, but we are conspiracy theorists. Anyway, I mean, that's, you know, that's what they do. Someone mentioning, oh yeah, shout out to the Grandmaster John Anthony West. Gino knew John very well. And in John's last year or so of his life, when he was suffering, Gino helped him out quite a bit. So Gino knows John Anthony West. He's a legend. AJ won't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger. And I won't mess around with Jim. Yeah, so I don't know how to cover that with a story. What if you did a story on HARP in Alaska, says Giovanni? A HARP story is due. I kind of felt like I've covered a lot of it already, but maybe not as a standalone. I mean, what do you guys think when I'm rehashing stuff in the episodes? Like tonight's, when I mentioned the pyramid power. I try not to go into too much detail with it because if you've seen it, you don't want to watch 3 or 4 minutes of stuff that I've already told you. But at the same time, I always assume that someone watching a video is new to the channel. And we do get new people. They're just not subscribers, but every month about 1 million new people check out the Y-Files. They don't subscribe, but they do check it out. And within any 30-day period, 8 million people watch 2 Y-Files episodes. Even though we only have 3 million subs or so, our audience is 8 million strong. They're just not clicking the subscribe button. And I get it. I am also very stingy with that button. So there's a lot of us out here. So Hunter says rehash is good. I'm glad. Suzanne rehashed from a different angle. But if there is no different angle, so the reason I asked is if I do a story on HAARP, I have already covered a good chunk of it in other episodes. So I would be rehashing a lot of that. But maybe it's fine because when I think about those episodes, they were a year ago, maybe even longer. So I could probably do it. A HAARP episode is an instant context warning from YouTube, instant. So I don't know if it's demonetized, but the context warning is not good for us. But maybe I can find a way around it. Look, I try to find ways around those context warnings. Did we get one on the Anunnaki video? Flesh and Bone. Pardon me, Flesh and Bone. Honestly, it's nice to get a refresher. Okay, I'm glad you feel that way. Because I do too. The refreshers help me too. As I've said many times, and I'll say it again for those of you who attack me on Reddit, I'm not an expert in these stories. I don't know anything about these stories. All the topics come from you. So I never heard of the Dark Pyramid of Alaska, aside from just, around. But it was not a story I knew. I just knew that there was a story of this black pyramid underground. That's all I really knew. But people asked for the full story. So then I researched and I learned as much as I can. But I'm not an expert going in. I don't follow UFO news day to day. So when people bring up names or tell us your thoughts on the hearing today, I don't know who the name is and I didn't watch the hearing. I just don't follow it. So I get attacked a lot for getting things wrong. And that's fine. I'd rather not be personally attacked for it. I'd rather, if you want to correct me, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. Just if you could do it respectfully or nicely would be fine. There was someone complaining that the mods on the Wi-Fi's official Reddit, they don't allow criticism. That's not true. Criticism is allowed. You can, if you want to break down one of my videos point by point and tell me everything I got wrong, that is perfectly fine. But can you do it? Can you just man up and just do it like a gentleman or lady? Can you just do it like a person? Can you just do it like we're sitting across the table from each other like people? Instead of attacking me or calling me a shill or a government plant, which is amazing that they think I work for the government, and calling me all these names. I don't know anything about the stuff. So I'm going to get things wrong. I learn as the story's fleshing it out. I learn. Tim Foo Fighter, I just wanted to read it because I saw a name that I know. AJ, Mike Barra has lots of stories to tell. He does. Mike has helped write a few of our episodes. And he's a Patreon member. He's frequently on the Patreon live streams. By the way, it's a great way to support your favorite YouTube channel is become a Patreon member. You can do it for as little as $3 a month. You get access to the videos early with no commercials when I can. You get access to merch only available to Patreon members. Exclusive stuff. And 2 extra live streams, sometimes more, that are just for Patreon members. And I say this at the end of every episode, the plugs. But I think the live stream is important. And I think it's a great reason to support the channel is because you get access to me and the whole team and everyone in the community. So when we do the Patreon live streams, even the bigger ones, there's only 100 people in there. Sometimes we'll do 150, and sometimes there'll be 40. But there's only a few of us in there, and your camera's on too. So if you want to ask a question, I don't have to just sit here and stare at the chat. Ryan, you didn't miss the giveaway. It's coming. It's coming. I'm just wrapping up a couple of ideas here. So instead of me staring at the chat, waiting for your question, you could just raise your hand, you fire up your webcam, and you could just talk to me and talk to Gino. He's on all those. Jen and Victoria are there as well. Even the hybrid, the world famous Discord hybrid, who's been spotted out in the world. He signs autographs. He's very famous. he's there as well. He moderates those live streams. So I think if it's the best way to support the channel is Patreon. We get to keep most of that money. As you know, I'm sorry about the plugs, but it's part of my job. As you know, I keep the price of the merch as low as possible. And I've said this on the show that, look, I don't really make any money from merch, but it doesn't really lose it. We've now confirmed that. Like, Jen has a talent for forensic accounting, spreadsheets and stuff. And she said, yeah, we're basically break even on merch, which is fine. I'm not looking to raise the prices. I'd rather just more t-shirts be out there. But for people who are like, if you're going to buy t-shirts to support the channel, that's great. You're not really sending any bucks our way. But please buy the shirt. The best way to support is Patreon. The super chats here are amazing, but only about half of that money will get to us. Sally says, Jen is the GOAT. You know that's a compliment, right, Jenny? She does. Okay. I didn't know if she knows what that means. She's down there like, call me a goat. Does I have to do I have to tweeze? Do I have to tweeze? You don't have to tweeze, honey. Sem says overlap is okay. Okay. Tim Foo Fighter, thanks for great entertainment and stories. You're very welcome. Joe Ferguson, I don't care what all the haters say. You put a lot of research on a specific topic and put on a great show. There is zero deception in your episodes. You do it very well and balanced. Thank you. That is a great compliment. There's no better compliment than that. So I will rarely respond to Reddit attacks, but I do from time to time. Victoria's down there. She's cheering. She will respond to Reddit attacks. She is very protective of the channel. But when I do respond to like someone attacking about all the things I got wrong, that's the first thing I say. I don't know anything about it. I just learned what I learned in that week or two. I'm an expert in the topic for a week or two. If I got stuff wrong, I'm sorry, but it's not my job. It's not my job. This person said it was like poor journalism skills. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm not an investigative journalist. I'm not an activist. I'm not here to be anyone's leader. I'm not here to convince you to believe one thing or another. That is not what I'm here for. I'm here for us to have fun, to tell a fun story that's interesting. And then if you want, stick around and I'll break it down and we can figure out what's true, what I can prove is false, and have a couple of laughs along the way. For crying out loud, I talked to a fish. So I'm saying this in the Reddit thread, and I broke it all down. Things that I've said a million times because it's the same criticisms. I might as well just copy and paste it. But the TLDR of that was, I'm an entertainer. Stop sweating the small stuff. And be safe, be kind. And even though I'm getting things wrong, you are appreciated. Because they are. At least they're watching. Modern Relic, it's okay. I talk to cats. Me and Jenny talk to our cats. I mean, we talk to them like they're people. Like they speak English. Dragon, you're an amazing storyteller. I appreciate that. I had never felt like I really was my strong suit. I always did a little creative writing, and I did the screenplay stuff and all those things that Hollywood idiots do. But it wasn't something I leaned into. I've been afraid of it because I didn't feel I was very good at it. When you think of storytellers, you can't help you think of John, you think of Mr. Ballin, and shout out to Mike at that chapter, who I think does a great job. I love his channel. So when I see people like that, it's like I can't do that. Bailey Sarian, like just riffs. I can't do that. I have to script everything. I can't riff like they do. And I'm so jealous of it. But it's fun. Like the storytelling part has become fun. And my favorite parts of the episodes are the science fiction scenes. So like this week was Marty Johnson when he flies from Unalakleet to the bunker in the base, and I take you through his whole thing. Now that's just a story. I embellished a little bit of it to fill in some holes, but for the most part, his son said that that's what happened to him. I don't know if his name is Marty, and I put that note in the description. I just know his first initial was M. He's MB Johnson, and his son wants privacy, so I couldn't even really reach out. In fact, he doesn't even want to know that we know his name is MB Johnson. And later, when his story was covered later, that was redacted. I found out his name, so I just told you his real name. Anyway, that scene I consider a science fiction scene. They're fun to write. They're fun to edit. I think they're fun to watch. But I was very scared to do it early on. And now I look for places to do that. You know, we have a couple of episodes coming up that are essentially disaster movies. One I'm really looking forward to is the plasma apocalypse. Like, what would happen? That, you know, that's essentially we're going to tell a science fiction story, disaster movie. What would happen? What will happen when Yellowstone finally blows? What are people going to see? So since we don't really know, we don't have images of that, I just have to kind of create it. The stories are based on as much science and fact as I can find, but I take creative license. And people seem to enjoy it, which is good because it's my favorite part of the show. Avatar Guy, longtime supporter, says, we have fun here. I'm glad you're here. Sandy, trolls gotta hate. Don't let them bring you down. I have gotten better over the past few years. Early on, it was not very good at being attacked. Like it would literally ruin my day. If I got like a hateful comment, it would like my whole day would be over. I took them all so seriously. But then eventually you start to learn, you start to see the pattern, and you start to understand that the more aggressive and angry and hateful a comment is, you know that person is not living their best life at that moment. You know, so I know that that's an unhappy person. And maybe I'm wrong and I'm just trying to fool myself, but it gives me a little bit of solace. And it also, if I think of them that way, it gives me a little bit of empathy. So if someone wants to make fun of who's the old guy with the stupid puppet getting everything wrong, I get that all the time. Okay, that's a whole bunch of mean things to say to me. But I know that you're unhappy with your life, and I'm sorry that you're going through whatever you're going through, but you're taking your anger out on other people, and it's probably not healthy. And that's how I approach it. And love to you as well, Todd. So that has helped me from responding in anger. But once in a while, I will say, like, if they're really mean, and if I hop in there, I rarely respond. But if I hop in there and I say, you're clearly upset about something, and whatever you're going through, I'm sorry, but you're taking it out on a stranger and there's no reason. Oh, they hate that. They hate that. How dare you? You don't know what's going on in my life. Kind of do. RD, why even pay attention to them? I don't anymore. I really don't. The comments, I will read and respond and hit the heart on comments very early on in the episode. So like that'll be something I do tonight, is respond to a couple of comments, hit a bunch of likes, because those will be very positive comments, the people that watch the premiere and all of that. But I don't go back to old episodes and look through the comments, because most channels, and including the Y-Files up until about a year ago, we had automatic moderation on. So a ton of comments get held for review. People don't even see them. But we have so many comments now and had so many good ones being held. I just allow all comments. So the only ones that don't show up are the ones that YouTube takes out automatically. But otherwise, if you're going to be mean and hateful to me, it's going to allow it to post. But just know that Victoria may have a response for you. And you do not want to get on her bad side. There she is. There's the mama bear. There's Gino. Peace. And there's the goat. There's Jenny. Look how beautiful she looks tonight.
Oh, thank you. I do know what goat means, by the way.
What does it mean?
Greatest of all time.
There you go. John Gunn, what was the funniest comment you ever got? I don't know. Early on, I used to screenshot the good ones, but it just became too much. But I'll go back and look. I don't know where I would post those. But always check out the Backstage channel, by the way. That's where all the random things go. This week, we've got Gino. It does a 1 hour sit down with Captain Ron, right? You're going to Contact in the Desert. You want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited for it. Got to sit down and interview Captain Ron Janix. He's the owner of Contact in the Desert, the largest ufology conference in the universe. We had a great interview, talked about not only just the conference, but the topics that are going to be talked about. We're going to have some great speakers down there, like George Norrie, George Knapp, Linda Moulton Howe, Richard Dolan. So it's going to be, we're going to get some great content. I'm going to go down and interview a lot of those people as well. So stay tuned to that Backstage channel. There's going to be a lot more content coming out besides just what we're doing here on the Y-Files. We want to do some deeper dives with some of the experts that are out there in these topics that we cover. So you could have multiple perspectives. So here you go. You see some of the people that are going to be there. Dr. Avi Loeb is going to be actually calling in virtually. So if you guys can't make it to Contact in the Desert, they do have a way for you to log on and watch virtually. It's going to be really if you're interested in this information, you don't want to miss this. Whitley Strieber, Travis Walton, two of the most famous experiencers. I'm going to get to sit down and talk to them. We're talking to David Foley. Let's see, who else do we have? I think we're going to. I'm going to get to introduce a lot of speakers while there's excited. I'm going to be introducing George Knapp on stage when he gives his lecture. And you can see all these great names. You know all of them. Tim Hogan, Last Podcast on the Left is there. Big fans of them. Let's see. Go back up for a second, AJ. There was a few others that I just don't remember offhand.
Timothy Hogan, by the way, remember he's the Grand Master of the Knights Templar. So absolutely. Very interesting dude, and I corresponded with him a little bit prior to releasing that episode, and he's very nice man, and super knowledgeable about the Knights. Is it Knights Templar or Knights Templar? He kept saying Templar, so that's what I said in the episode. But that sounds weird to my ear.
I think it just depends on where your accent is from.
All right.
But one other thing I want to point out, very important about Contact in the Desert, they're not just ufologists. There's more to it. They are exploring AI and technology and all the things that are now coming into the ufology realm. Because, like AJ was saying, we're calling them UAPs or UFOs, but we're not really. We're talking about technology here. We're talking about things that our minds are beginning to understand more. So they do get into that kind of stuff. So they're having the leaders in AI there as well. There's just so many amazing speakers. As you can see, over 70 speakers in a 4-day conference. If you could make it there, you should.
All the big ones. Russell Targ, remember, he's one of the founders of SRI, Project Stargate. That's Russell right there. Founded that with Hal Puthoff.
Yep. And again, if you guys wind up going, please find me. I'm happy to talk to you. If you can't make it, you should join virtually. Again, I'd be happy to interact with you while we're down there.
What's Thomas Jane talking about?
Well, Thomas Jane is a believer. You know, he was on a lot of sci-fi shows.
Oh no! Look, I'm an expanseaholic. So, as you know, as Joseph East Miller in The Expanse, I mean, I have the books memorized. I've watched the show a zillion times. He's great in it, and Hung was cool. He was good in The Punisher.
Punisher, of course.
I don't know what he's going to talk about.
Well, I think he's similar to us. He's just very interested, and he's someone who's a believer, and not and doesn't just disregard things because science fiction pointed it out before science did.
All right, Contact in the Desert.
And go to contactinthedesert.com. You'll be able to buy your tickets there. It's next month. It's the weekend between May and June. We're going down there with a full crew. We're bringing Haley.
Hold on. How much? What do tickets cost?
So, I mean,
So let's do a giveaway.
Yeah, let's do a giveaway.
No, Gino, if you want to finish up plugging, you can.
No, I mean, look, I could talk about them all day. I'm excited for it. For a 4-day conference, it is not that expensive.
It's not. I was just going to say that. It looks pricey, but it's 4 days, and you saw all the heavy hitters. Everybody, it's a who's who of UFO, paranormal, conspiracies. When Grandmaster Hogan landed on the list, that's when I was convinced, like, this is going to be fun. Because he has nothing to do with UFOs. And he's the one who says that he has the bones,
right,
of Jesus and Mary and John, and I can't get into it because people get upset. But if you watch the episode, I tell you all the things that he claims to have, that the Knights have.
And even Captain Ron, that I interviewed, who owns and runs Contact in the Desert, he's so interesting himself. So he's worth listening to as well, because he's very similar in personality to me, where he's not just an instant believer, but he does want these stories, to be true, and he wants to listen and delve into each one of them. So it's not that he is just a blanket believer. He is he's an interviewer and gets great stories out of all these people. So really looking forward to it. And
all right, so we've got the 1 hour on backstage. You'll have 1 hour sit down with Gino and Captain Ron. It's very fascinating, and always fun to see Gino in the big chair. Which reminds me, we do have what is the name of this science show? It's the Beyond the Pale.
I think I was going with Beyond the Singularity, but I think we're workshopping the title. No one liked it but me.
Okay, Beyond the Singularity. That's the working title. We're still workshopping it. Beyond the Singularity. Okay, so we'll do a giveaway, but while people are putting in the word, we'll watch one or two of what is it? The Singularity is awesome. Single file. What's the name of the show? Beyond the
Singularity.
Beyond the Singularity. Of course, a very catchy title. What is the word of the day?
Somebody said camel toe. T-O-W.
Camel toe. T-O-W. Okay, here's how it works. If this is your first time here, this is what we do. This is it. It's not a professional.
Imagine if live streams had open mics. That would be this. Only this is much, much worse.
Okay, that one hurt. Yeah. That's what this is. So if you're new here, just type camel toe spelled that way, T-O-W, in the chat. And in a few minutes, we'll click draw, and someone will randomly win a foot rub from Victoria. She'll get in between the toes. Even is that correct?
No.
What does she do to their feet if they win?
I give them a gift certificate that is usable at the Y-Files store.
And only at the Wi-Fi that gift certificate's not usable with anything with you or
No.
no? Okay.
No.
Well, we're still working on that. Well, you don't mind if I dip a little bit while we do this non-professional podcast?
You don't.
All right. So Camel Toe goes in the chat. Lane Tatum says, I have webbed toes. So does Gino.
I do.
Man,
you
it's
know what's
weird.
really hard about having webbed toes that I've only experienced later on in life? They now make the shoes that have like the little toes in it, and I can't wear them. They hurt.
All right.
So,
There you go.
So I can't have individual toes.
So make sure to super chat for Gino, who's suffering because he can't wear those shoes because of his web toes. Camel's hole will not work. Fred Red Beans, I'm sorry. Speedweed was incorrect. That's not going to win you anything anymore. Space Invader, got to get rid of the space. If you put a space in between, it won't count. Camel Tippy Toe will not win, but for some reason that's very funny. Camel Towel, that's wrong. Toe the camel will not work. I thought it was a funny spot, right?
I liked it.
It was okay. Some of them are bangers. Some of them are, we just got to get through it.
Yeah.
But I mean, hats off to PDS, man, who lets us get away with everything. I mean, last week, I'm just looking at the screen here. Do I look too dark?
You're looking pretty dark.
It's a little dark.
Not bad.
Look, I'm at home and this camera is super blue and very bright. So
how
There
about
you
that?
go.
That's a little better.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how it used to be. That's why the glasses have the tint. Yeah, they let us get away with. A couple of weeks ago, we did, and look, these are Haley writes the dirty jokes, and it was a spot about how Hecklefish had the Beaver Brothers in the crock pot
Yes.
because he was so hungry, but thank goodness he didn't have to
Yeah.
spend all night eating beaver. So I read that and I was like, that is funny. And we shot the spot. And as I'm going through it, I'm like, that's funny, but boy, that's a lot. And then we aired it and I was wincing like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. We found the line. And then we're looking at the chat and we're like, yeah, we've got a lot of LOLs and a lot of, come on, man. My kids are watching.
That was the line.
So we'll pull that back a drop.
But that wasn't PDS. That was Factor. Like,
That was Factor.
Our sponsors are great because they really do let us. There are scripts that we turn in. I'm like, there's no way they're going to okay this script. And like 5 minutes later, our manager writes back and says, sounds great. They love it. It's like,
we're all like,
so.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. We're at 1200. We don't rather than draw. Maybe we'll watch one of these.
Let's watch one. I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I was solo in the studio this day. AJ, you were recording in your studio, and Jen and Vic were off in their rooms reading scripts. No one got to see this. It's still brand new.
Speaking of solo, well, happy May the 4th, everyone. Happy Star Wars Day. You saw in the spot, I had my little R2D2. I was doing the Where Could He Be?
Where could he be?
3PO, Where Could He Be?
3PO.
Someone out there will think that was funny. So a little Star Wars reference for May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, Jim Robertson, and sailing. May the 4th be with you as well. Raider Romeo Moose Knuckle Toe will not work. I'm sorry. But it is very, very funny. May the toe be with you. I think that has something to do with Victoria. Full screen, please. Oh, that's right. Because we were going to watch one of these nighttime in the singular beyond the pluralities. All right, here we go.
You can't make fun of singularity. Utah.
I gotta rewind it because it's one step beyond the. I was just thinking of one step beyond. That's what it popped into my head.
That
Right.
was actually the theme song I wanted to use.
Is that Madness? Is that
Yep.
is that the correct answer? All right.
Researchers at the University of Utah have identified the optimal locations in the U.S. for spotting UFOs. They analyzed nearly 10,000 UFO sightings reported to the National UFO Reporting Center between 2001 and 2020, assessing factors such as sky visibility and the likelihood of other objects in the sky. The lead researcher noted that busy skies are more conducive to spotting unexplained phenomena than empty ones. Their findings revealed that regions with clear dark skies and sparse vegetation tended to have more UFO sightings, while areas with heavy air traffic also showed increased sightings, possibly due to the proliferation of new sky technologies causing confusion among observers. While New England exhibited a small hotspot for UFO sightings, the frequency was significantly higher in the western United States. If aliens were interested in resources like gold deposits, they certainly would correlate to where the sightings are occurring. Could the Anunnaki be pilfering America's gold?
Ooh, the wink.
There he goes. All right, boy, that was some aggressive ADR there.
Yes.
All right, so we got a couple more of those. We'll sprinkle those in tonight.
Somebody was really confused. I think they came in after we started the chat or the contest because they're like, I love the show, but this chat is bullshit. You can't even talk to anybody. It's just people saying words, just a single word over and over again.
Yeah, if you're just joining, Beaver Toes will not win, Ryan. I'm sorry. If you're just joining, type camel toe, all one word, to enter to win a foot massage or something from Victoria. Maybe a couple of super chats over there. Quantum Sledgehammer for $50. You know what that means.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Human, I want you to know I said human. Thank you for all the dough tipping. As I'm sure you will find, always is a good time. Ooh, 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 it's fun to tip the F-I-S-H. It's fun to tip the F-I-S-H.
Quantum Sledgehammer, long-time big supporter of the channel. Love Mount Maternal. Okay, well, remember, I'm Ron Burgundy. I just read it. So I saw fornicating. So I was like, hold on. All right, I see what he did. He loved Mount Maternal fornicating haze. I get it. But super happy about another After Files. In fact, when the stream is over, I'm using my magical BS machine to go back in time to watch it again for the first time. My biometric sending machine. Wow. What did you think I meant?
That's
Hey-o!
Woo!
Maybe he's building a Kaziarev mirror. Has anyone built a Kaziarev mirror yet? I have to say Kaziarev. I have been corrected. Alex didn't like me saying Kozyrev.
No.
It's Kaziarev. Because I guess he speaks Russian, allegedly. There's Ron, big supporter of the channel. Ron for $2. Testing. Can't seem to send a super chat. Yes, you can.
There it is.
Just me. Can you explain this foot massage giveaway again, please? Sure. Sure, I can. If you type camel toe in the chat, we're going to click draw and randomly pick someone, and they will win a foot massage. I think we should make it optional. Like either they win a foot massage from Victoria, or they can massage her feet.
No.
Oh, okay.
There's no foot massages, no touching from any of Wi-Fi staff.
No?
No. But you do win a $50 gift certificate to the Wi-Fi store, which is awesome.
Okay. I guess that's fine.
Yes.
Camel Toe Industrial Complex will not win. Chance Baby, I'm sorry. But I still fear that. Elephant foot will not work. Jendigo Hands is not going to win anything except.
Somebody asked in the chat if I was a tall white.
I saw that.
Well, the hair is too dark.
Well, it's the color of this camera.
But you're looking kind of corpsey. you look like you're fresh from the mortician's office rather than the beautician. But that's all right. We can get your color dialed in.
Oh my gosh, little corpsey. It happens.
Yeah, there she is.
Corpsey.
Just it's very washed out and very white, and I do feel like I'm at your memorial service right now.
Oh, stop it!
Wow. Anyway.
Flat Lower saying Jen's hair looks good tonight. I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Tall white vibes for sure. Caramel toes are delicious. Will not win.
Let's pull the trigger on the winner here after Zeb.
After Zeb, the super fan Francis.
I'm a fish, I'm a lover, I'm a freak in the covers, I'm a swimmer, I'm a saint. I do not feel ashamed.
Why, fam? I have to miss most of the After Files due to a prior engagement. Frowny face. Great episode. Always love when Hecklefish says the F word. I wish he could say it more often. I do as well. But the kids are watching now.
Yeah. We have to be a little bit more careful.
It's really not a show for kids, but they're watching, so I try to be mindful of that. The humor is Looney Tunes. So I try to put jokes in there that the grown-ups will get, but will go over your 7-year-old's head. Like if you go back and watch Bugs or like the Flintstones or some of those, there's some pretty raunchy double entendres in those old cartoons. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to click draw. So last call for Camel Toe, spelled T-O-W, all one word. I know we've got about a 5 or 6 second delay. So I will wait 5 or 6 seconds. Need an after hours, after files. Maybe Gino can host something like that on the backstage. By the way, if you do become a Patreon member, you get special access on Discord. Gino's on there all the time doing AMAs.
Last night we were on there almost 5 hours talking.
5 hours.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Camel Toe, 1,600 people. Let's see who wins the foot rub. There's Peyton, Mike, Jeff, Leah, Christy, Quirk, Wade, Ryan, Poison, Leah, Geeks, Aaron, Miss Billy Cat, Melanie Smith, Lord Mass Bosco, Crypto Cajun, Lawrence Summers is the winner.
Yay, Lawrence.
Former Secretary of Treasury and President of Harvard University and huge fan of the Y-Files, Lawrence Summers. Or is that's someone else? Different Lawrence Summers. Okay. Oh, different. So Lawrence Summers, what does he have to do to win that Zoom call with Victoria's feet?
Come to the Discord, put in a help desk ticket, and they'll take care of you right away.
All right. That's Lawrence Summers. Open a ticket in Discord. A couple more super chats, if you don't mind.
No, let's do it.
P. Smith for 5. Linda Moulton Howe and Stephen Greer work for Lawrence Rockefeller. Oof. Rockefeller, one of those names connected to the shadow government Illuminati. I disagree. Someone asked me, do you think Linda is a tool for government disinformation? And I said, yes, but not on purpose. not on purpose. If you're a true believer and you will not hear debunking at all, you're kind of doing what they want.
Now, before we move on there, Linda Moulton Howe is going to be a contact in the desert. I'm going to be speaking to her. If you guys jump on the Discord and you have questions that you want answered, I will write them down and bring them right to her. So please interact with us. Here's your chance. You watch Linda Moulton Howe on TV and you can't interact. Here's your chance. Let me know your questions.
All right. So let Gino know in Discord. Ray Lewis for 5. Why does watching you dance make me so happy? I don't know, but I'm glad it does.
It's fun. It's fun to watch him dance.
To watch me dance is fun. I think I'm a pretty good dancer.
You are.
But most people think they're a good dancer, though, don't they?
I don't know.
Are you a good dancer, Jenny?
I am a good dancer.
See, Victoria?
I have fun. I don't know if it's good or not. Don't care.
Okay. Gino, you a good dancer? I don't think I've ever seen Gino dance. Not since our days hardcore clubbing and mosh pitting in New York City. I've seen that.
Look, I'm just dancing here to keep my job. You don't want to catch me dancing.
Remember when Alan Jorgensen walked by us and just sweat all over us?
Yeah, of course.
You guys are too young to remember Alan Jorgensen, but talking about ministry, the great ministry. Joe P., the official beard of the Y-Files.
Thank you for that tip. Now I can finally join C Harmony and meet the future ex-Mrs. Moriarty.
Another fantastic episode from the Y-Files. Need more Y-Files in my life. I mean, who doesn't? Some people have too much. Thank you, guys. Keep up the good work. I have a theory about what the pyramids were powering, and that's how he just leaves the cliffhanger.
What?
That's it. And then I read that comment, and then I see the Y-Files logo pop up. And now I want to know the secret. But if you want to talk to Joe P., the official beard of the Y-Files, you can. He's on the Discord AMAs all the time.
Yeah.
And the beard is legit. Paul, big time supporter, the actual biggest supporter financially of the channel is Paul S.
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga. I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. You mean you just don't realize what your tips do to me? When you tip me, I can pay my bills and you make me tingle in my gills. Oh, your tips are amazing, and I think it's crazy that you send cash to me.
I love that laugh.
It's a long song.
That one goes on for a minute. Paul says, great episode. Learned a lot. Sorry, no free time this early on Saturdays, but I'll catch the next After Files you do on a weekday. They were my favorite part of the channel. Mine too. Paul, I really like doing these. But when we're so behind on the episodes, I mean, doing a premiere on Saturday, that wasn't a strategy. That was a decision that was made a few days ago when I, just slinked into Jenny's office and said, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So Friday? Saturday? So we were able to get the premiere done, but it required another all-nighter for me. Freckles put in a lot of hours, and still there was a mistake that the Patreon members caught because they see the videos early. It's a great way to support your favorite YouTube channel, by the way. It's become a Patreon member, only $3 a month. So they see the videos early, which is great for me because if there's mistakes in the edit, they catch them. So I don't know who caught that.
NX and Justin and Joseph Atkinson were my first, and then SMK was the third.
So that was scene 4 about Marty Johnson's trip down to the pyramid, and it cut off halfway through. I didn't know it. And they were saying, oh, it's fine. The episode's fine without it. But it really wasn't, because he's the introduction to the pyramid. That's the first time we discussed it. So I had to go back, fix the edit with an hour and a half before showtime. I got it uploaded. Finally. Shiva does AJ voice Hecklefish. Hecklefish does his own voice. Who does your voice, Shiva?
Right.
It's Kelsey Wallace for 5. Happy birthday to Marty Hugh. Let's go Rangers. Love from Nova Scotia.
Happy birthday, Hugh.
Happy birthday, Hugh. I don't know if that's a hockey or baseball or just fans of the special forces. Right? Rangers lead the way. Well, Kelsey for 10. Hey, team. Thanks for the earlier after files this week. Me and my husband, Paul. Hey, Paul. On the East Coast, so we're thrilled. I sent some fan art in recently. Hope you like it. Thanks for all you do. Trust no one. Trust no one. That includes your favorite YouTubers. Do not trust them. You never know who's a tool for the government.
Kelsey's fan art is up on our Instagram, so follow our Instagram to see it. She's an excellent artist.
Man, hang on a second now. I'll get right back to you. Beat your meat. All right, so Instagram, and it's OMG the Y files.
Yup.
It wants me to sign in. I just want to see the fan art. Never mind. It's not going to work.
Yikes. You call this a live stream? How are you not embarrassed?
So anyone who is doing fan art, send it in to us either way, and we're happy to see it, and we'll keep posting it.
Best show, my 24-hour CIA monitoring device. It's great to see you all again. Beats and meats. They're always listening. Logan Miller for 573. Missed you all. Great episodes. Heard about Starfish Prime. I haven't. Heard about it on Jerry. Wild stuff. Love y'all. Hail chat. Hail chat.
Starfish Prime was part of Operation Fishbowl. I believe it's when they exploded a 1.4 megaton bomb in the atmosphere and near Hawaii, and it was way more amplified than they thought it was. Created an EMP that hit all the way to Hawaii, and it had some lingering electrons or something in the atmosphere. Really interesting. And one thing that's not talked about enough is they're saying it's a test. Now, theorists, I'm not saying conspiracy theorists, but theorists will say maybe it wasn't a test. Maybe there's a reason they had to blast that off up there in the atmosphere, just like when they're blowing up nuclear bombs in the oceans. Maybe they're not tests. Maybe they're actually blowing things up that we're not aware of.
Could be. A lot of people don't realize that the tests, most nuclear tests, certainly in the history of our country, specifically thinking about Castle Bravo, which is the one that you've seen off of Bikini Atoll, that explosion was 5 times more powerful than they expected. So that was like an oops. They were expecting maybe a 2.5 to 3 megaton blast. Castle Bravo, I think, was 13 megatons. Some say as high as 15, and caused all kinds of damage to the environment there, and the people there got very, very sick. But what's interesting is years later, scientists went back to Bikini Atoll, and although all the people got sick and cancer and birth defects, the animals and plants are thriving there. As a new ecosystem has emerged around the crater of the explosion. One of the biggest coral reefs in the world is now down there from the Castle Bravo explosion. Fish, sharks, they're all thriving. The coconuts growing on the island are still radioactive, deadly radioactive, and yet the coconut crabs love them. They're doing just fine.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
One other thing to point out about starfish that I think I remember is their first test, they said all of their testing got lost. Got destroyed because it was such a large impact that they were too close, and all their radar testing and everything. So all the information that everyone wanted to see was lost.
Right. Just like the Apollo tapes, just like all that information.
The moon landing footage, all that. Yeah.
All lost. Dr. Venkman, Godzilla is doing very well. I was thinking the same thing. Like, are they trying to close the hole so the kaiju don't get through? No, Grim 77. It's atoll. You're thinking of sphincter, but it's atoll. So it's kind of like a little ring of islands. Atoll. Jesse K for 5. Love the show. Look forward to it. Thanks, Jesse. UGA Brodel for 5. Oh, look, another banger of an episode from the Wi-Fi House. Ho hum yawn. Sure is nice to be back. Love you guys. Keep it up. Fist bump. Appreciate you. Thanks, UGA. Here's Blackbeard for 5. Great to see you and the team again. And there he is with the Stars and Stripes and the Jolly Roger. Thanks, Blackbeard. Longtime supporter of the channel with a new avatar. That's a new flag. I didn't notice your flag's a little different.
Yeah.
I see that. Nick B for 50.
Whoa.
I get pretty freaky. He's a super freak. The kind of fish you dream about. You got freaky dreams. I get pretty kinky. He's a super freak. But only if you pay me. Gotta pay the fish. I need a tip. I need a tip. I need a tip from you. And you. And you, human. You and you and you. Hit the super chat, hit the button now.
Nick P says my first Wi-Fi House episode was it's Indrid Cold when I had the flu and binged while being bedridden. You guys are the modern day X-Files. Love the work and keep it up. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Indrid Cold. That was a fun episode.
That was a fun episode.
That is the UFO encounter on the freeway.
Oh, that brings up something you talked about earlier that I wasn't on. You know, one of the things for the lights, Phoenix Lights, it was reported by X amount of people and one aviator. Well, that aviator turns out was Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell was in the air, seen the lights, reported it, and he was the aviator, the one aviator that reported the Phoenix Lights.
Wow, I didn't know that. Lila Loveless, thank you for the 10. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks to everyone super chatting. Well, I guess the Tall Whites have called her home.
She disappeared.
There's Joe Ferguson for 10.
Hey, thanks for the tip.
Let's do a shot, completely out of respect for your show. The content and how you deliver the material. This is by far the best show on social media in the genre. Much respect. Cheers. Thanks so much, Joe. I don't think, this channel is not for everyone. It's really not. It's hard to explain to people, but I think it is unique. I think we are singular. I don't think anyone could accuse me of being a copycat because there's just no one else does what we do for good or for bad. Love it or hate it. No one does what we do. Paul Logan for £10. Hope you and the family are well. Missed the After Files. Glad to have you back. Good to be back, Paul. Mark McHiggins. G'day from Dan Under. Thank you, mate. The rabbit hole. She's a short white. Jen's not short. She's pretty tall. Her legs go all the way up to Canada, baby. Little fat. My God, AJ, you're married to a beautiful woman. I am. I'm so jealous. My wife is ugly. See, Mary Jane, one of our mods, just deleted that. I mean, I guess you could delete that, but I'm assuming his wife isn't watching. I just thought that was funny. I'm sorry about your ugly wife, but everyone has a beauty in their own way. Shannon, you may say you're not just singular, AJ, but beyond the singularity.
Tell me where he go? Tell me something I don't know. Where's Gino?
There he go. This is Phil back for 10. Thanks for the great show once again. Wi-Fi is always the best part of my week. Thanks, Phil. Once the premiere is over, that's the best part of my week for sure. Leading up to it, not so much. Victoria, would you say I was somewhat tense last few days?
Yes, I stayed away from you on purpose.
And that's interesting that people don't realize. You know, me and AJ sit 20 feet from each other with a wall between us, and I've probably talked to him 50 words this whole week.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm working hard for everybody.
Absolutely. We don't bother you. We know that every word that we say is taking time away from the video. That means it's just more time that we're going to have to wait for the video. And internally, we want the video as well as fans.
It's funny that you put it that way, because when I'm grinding hard on an edit, like a few days ago, Jen will come in and just sit down, and just because she wants to chat, she enjoys a chat, and if I'm like headphones on, I just will put them off, and it's like, do you need me, or is this just a visit? Because every minute I spend talking to you is a minute more I have to spend in this chair and not get home and get to bed. She's like, fair enough. And I put the headphones back on and I get back to work. Sia says, you put your heart in these shows. I hope that you can see that. I hope that the hard work shows, because we do work pretty hard on these. But Freckles edited a good chunk of this episode. Pebbles, did I hear the music for Ginos Story Time? No, that's just a Gino song.
But don't be disappointed. There's going to be more Gino segments. It's not just going to be story time. We're getting into a lot more content. So we're evolving, and there's going to be a lot more of the full crew around. We got other shows, not just Gino, but the full crew on a few of them. We're excited about coming out.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, you know what? We didn't talk about that. We also have that another segment that we could put up.
Cage John Stone. Hi, AJ Karen. Originally from Huntington, New York, now Huntington, Indiana. Great show. Pizza and Wi-Fi sounds like a great new Saturday ritual. Thanks, Cage John. Know Huntington, New York very well.
The after files, when the stars align, Gino's voice shines like his neon sign.
Have you heard this, Victoria?
No.
I have not.
In a world of mysteries where secrets unfold, on Ginos Story Hour tales are told.
This is from the Wi-Fi's musicals, track 7. Track 7 from the original cast members.
Gino's gonna take you on a wild ride.
Ginos Story Hour.
Felix, Victoria is not single.
Take us away.
Creative Heather, please tell us about the unexplained. I will in just a mo.
Ginos Story Hour.
Dresses like you
have.
Lucky Barnes, Roger Hammerstein, it ain't. No, it ain't. Is that Jen singing? Might be.
On the after files,
when the stars align, Gino's voice shines like his neon sign.
Hey, Dragon, just make one.
Gino's Story Hour.
Take us away.
Gino's Story Hour. Dresses like you have He spins his stories, weaving magic.
can hear Jen in there.
I
Ginos
was wondering if you
Story
had a full orchestra in the studio.
Hour, take us away. Ginos Story Hour, dresses like Hugh Hefner. Ginos Story Hour, his jackets are the best. Ginos Story Hour, take us away. Ginos Story Hour, and that's what around his neck. Ginos Story Hour, take us away.
There it goes from the Wild Files the musical. That's track 7. If you're trying to look that up, track 7, the original Broadway cast. Shannon, Ginos Story Hour now off Broadway. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's just play it again. I guess we're gonna have to play it one more time.
No, that's okay.
No,
it's okay.
We're good.
All right. Sorry about that. Just trying to catch up on the super chats here. Here's where we were. Let me unstar those so I don't lose my place. Okay, Creative Heather $2. Please tell us about The Unexplained. So that's just another one of those wacky shows like Ancient Aliens that covers those stories. It's The Unexplained with William Shatner. He's like the narrator / host. So you might have seen a few months ago, I appeared on the episode about the chronovisor, which is the device that's allegedly hidden in the Vatican secret archives that lets you see through time, invented by Father Ernetti in the 60s. So I talked to them a little bit. I guess they liked it. So I was in LA last week shooting a few more episodes for them. And I think I'll probably be back again to do a few more. So if you watch The Unexplained, which is it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. You'll see Grandpa on there. I'm talking about all kinds of stuff. I talk about cursed islands, some nuclear stuff. I forget.
Don't call yourself Grandpa.
Speaking of, there's Crazy Old Fart for 5. Really want to see Hecklefish in big sunglasses. Sing Saturday Night's All Right for Wild Files. Get a little Hecklefish. All right. I like it. Psychoholic for 5 Australian. Missed the After Files. You guys have helped me through some tough times. I'm sorry to hear that and glad to hear that. But that's why we're here. We're just here to have fun. Dinkum Aussie's in the chat. Good to see you. Dinkum has been supporting the channel, I don't know, maybe since 15,000 subs. Long time. Paul wants more time travel. Okay. There's David Hilton for 5. Aging Wild Files crew, just want to say thank you for using my research in your last episode. I'm truly humbled. I was wondering when I saw your name if that was going to be David Hilton from the episode. So, David, first of all, thank you for not complaining that I used so much of your research. But people who watch the episode will remember that I specifically said this research is David's, and it's amazing. And I also linked to his channel down below. David, you haven't posted in a few years, and we need you back because you did some great work. Great work. So check out David Hilton's channel on YouTube. It won't take you long to get. He's only got a few videos up there, but they're fascinating. So there's David Hilton. Appreciate you. D. Fletcher, 2007 for 10.
Yes, thank you, human. You know the deal.
I would love to see a follow-up episode on the state of AI. The tech is advancing so quickly, it's just scary. It really is.
It is.
It is. It's getting very scary. We're not ready for it.
No.
Zombo, I think I'm older than AJ. I'm 40. Well, that's very nice.
Aw.
Very nice of you to say.
That is nice.
That's nice. Michael Vasquez AI video would be cool. If I could think of a story, I'll do it. I mean, you're seeing a lot of AI generated stuff in the videos. I hope that's okay. I try to not do too much of it, but when we're covering stories that there's just no footage of, I prefer to do a little bit of AI footage rather than some cheesy B-roll from, story blocks or something. So I hope the AI is okay. Some of it I know is janky looking, but we're doing our best. Russell Green, thank you for the 20, AJ. All the nice words for you and crew and fam. You always say you're hesitant to cover this or that. We want your take, though, because you rock. I don't know most of the stories you cover. Is it true? Is my favorite line. That's great, Russell. When I was in that Reddit thread the other day, I was talking about topics, and one of the best compliments that I can get is, I've never heard that before. It was a thread about Skinwalker Ranch that people wanted me to cover it, and why haven't I? So I answered that thread. I haven't covered Skinwalker Ranch for the same reason I haven't covered Oak Island. The stories are very old, and they now have whole TV shows around them that everything is all murky and muddled. So as soon as I do a Skinwalker episode, I'm going to get attacked from all the fans of the TV show, which has gotten wacky. And then I'm going to get attacked on the other side from the people that follow the legitimate Skinwalker story. I'll hear all that. And then I can debunk a good chunk of it. Not all of it, but I can debunk a good chunk of Skinwalker Ranch. That will also bring out the haters. Now that's still not enough to scare me away from an episode, but I don't want to do any story if I can't bring something new to it. And I don't think I can bring anything new to either of those.
Which I have to tell you, makes it very frustrating and a point of contention in our production meetings when we're having topic discussions. Because a lot of it is, what about this topic? And AJ's like, no. What about this one? Boring. What about this one? Nothing new. I mean, and that's just kind of how it goes. And then we'll mention one and he'll go, yeah, that one could be interesting. And we're like, yay. So
that's true.
That's true.
So we choose our topics very carefully. And Jen is not exaggerating. I reject 90% of the pitches.
He does.
And we've revisited some of the pitches as well. So it's not like we just throw them out and say, no good. We actually are still, we're very thorough about them. Hey, now is the time, So, it doesn't mean that it's out for good. I'm still pushing for the history of Oak Island. I don't know if we'll ever get it because, again, like AJ said, the show now has kind of muddled it. But the history before the show started is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do it if we keep it grounded. Games you love, $50.
I just want to celebrate another day of swimming. I just want to celebrate another super chat. Put my faith in you humans, and you humans let me down. Then you give me a shekel and it turns my heckle frown upside down. I just want to celebrate, yeah. Another day of swimming.
Games you love, says Ginos Story Hour. No. And maybe I'm just for $50, you deserve more than no Ginos Story Hour, but there is one in production. Gino's pretty excited about it.
A few things I would say about this. Yeah, I actually have two ready to go that we're going to be filming soon. We're doing other segments that involve me that we're talking about today as well. And again, for all you people who love the Ginos Story Hour, last night on the Discord during that 5-hour chat, I was doing story hours all night long. I was showing UFO videos that I took myself. I was going over them. I was talking to the fans about what we were looking at, interacting. It was maybe 10 of us on camera talking to each other. Should join that Discord.
All right. Have we hit our Discord plugs quota yet?
50K.
50,000 Discord members.
Yes.
Did it this week.
It's a very active community.
You know, you're calling them plugs, but we don't make any money off of Discord. So we're not plugging anything except we want the community there. And we want everyone here to know that there are people just like them that want to talk to them, not just us, but to each other.
Right.
100% agree. Starship and Haiku. Yeah, I realized I was trying to pitch the spontaneous human combustion episode until I saw you already covered it. Yeah. The only way you'll even find it is if you scroll through the channel. You can't search and find it. It was demonetized and crushed.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
It's my own fault. You can't show corpses.
Well, you even just showed parts of corpses, like just legs laying there that had been burned off.
I thought it would be okay because it didn't look so much like a dead person.
On the thumbnail.
I was learning. Ron's back for 2 just because. Ewok kebab, which does not sound delicious, for 10 pounds. It's weird how Gettysburg is considered one of those haunted battlefields, and there's quartz deposits all over the Layton countryside. That is interesting. And it is considered a haunted battlefield. Kind of interesting place to visit. But
and just one thing to mention about the quartz there. So we're now finding out through science that rocks like quartz and other rocks can hold information. And the crystal skulls, I know, have been debunked somewhat, but that's one of the things about the crystal skulls, how much information they would be able to hold just as a physical piece. It's very interesting theories.
It's something that I'll get into in one of the episodes is using crystals, especially diamonds, to store data. It's real technology, and a diamond can store a lot of data. David Moir for £2. What do you think the pyramid's power was used for? That's the big question, David, because even though I like the theories and the pyramid power plant, I can buy into it. There's no evidence of anything being powered. So part of the theory is the obelisks are made of quartz, and some of them had capstones of gold and were sort of like substations for this electricity in the ionosphere, but there's no evidence that they powered anything.
Gino's got his hand up.
Go ahead.
So just like when we're getting power here in Nevada, where's it coming from? It's coming from California. They're able to ship power. So these pyramids, they were not generating power for humans. They were generating power from the earth and sending it up into the atmosphere for the beings that were up in the atmosphere who were taking that power.
All right. Well, that theory certainly dovetails nicely with the Dark Pyramid, which is allegedly used to recharge and power UFOs. Jono for 5, 432 hertz. Love your channel. I knew someone would know the exact frequency. But I was within 8 hertz of it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pushpak Vimana needed wireless power, says Rob and Campenny. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe like Gino says, the power is being sent. I might be looking at it too terrestrially, too much like a human. Like the powers, like, of course, like they would tell me we weren't powering light bulbs. Light bulbs are stupid. Why would we do that? We're using them for our craft. That would make sense. There's Nest for 5. Thank you for the episode on hosting the After Files today. Anything you could tell us about the next Unredacted podcast episode? Do we have an Unredacted coming up soon?
I think we do.
Yeah, the Hitler's escape.
Hitler's escape.
Yes, to Argentina.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's coming up. That probably will be next week. It's a story about Hitler's alleged escape to Argentina. So we'll get into very specific details about the names of the pilots, the names of the plane, the U-boat that he allegedly went on. We have the cities where he allegedly lived and died. His separation from Eva Braun. All that stuff is in the episode. It's fascinating. At least I thought so. But I can't do it on YouTube. It's just a little too Hitlery. If you notice, I will only say the H word once in an episode. I'll only say Nazi once. And then after that, it's Germans. Just because of the algorithm.
Right.
Adolfonso Hitlario. Could have been. Most of the elite that fled to Argentina were captured by Mossad. But if you think about like Joseph Mengele, the angel of death, not only did he survive down there, he became a fairly successful businessman and landowner, and lived a fairly long life and died as an old man down there. If there's anyone you wanted to catch, it was Mengele, but he survived and he bounced around, changed his name a few times, and made a lot of money in different businesses.
I don't know why what you said reminds me of this, but I don't remember us covering this in our MK Ultra episode, that Charles Manson was part of MK Ultra.
Yes, he was.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I was listening to a podcast about him the other day, and yeah, he was one of the MK Ultra guinea pigs.
I didn't know that, but it certainly makes sense.
One other interesting thing on the side about Charles Manson is you could ask your Alexa to play Charles Manson, and it'll play his music, and it's kind of fascinating. His music, it could have been mainstream.
Huh.
I'm not going to ask Alexa to do that. I don't. I'm already on enough lists. Brian Sincerbo, longtime supporter of the channel, 2054. May the 4th be with you and with you as well. Another fantastic episode. Your time off did you well, from Ithaca, New York, which is near Geneva, not Canada, but close. I've been drunk in Ithaca many an evening in my day, as has Gino.
It's gorgeous.
Yep, it's a college town, upstate New York. Aaron C for 5. I fear most far out stories are psyops. Power of CIA is real, though. Ancient lost knowledge must be real. I agree with everything you're saying there. I found an old document. I haven't talked about it. It's an instruction manual, an old CIA instruction manual on psychological warfare and how to manipulate the masses. It's fascinating. I'm reading it going, I wish I can cover this, but there's no story there. But when you read the sort of the playbook, you can see it playing out right now.
Could you cover it in the episode we just got the script on about subliminal manipulation?
Yes, it could fit there.
Well, there you go.
Mac for 5. Sup? Mac from Texas. Have you tried to interview David Grush or Bob Lazar? If not, you should. I haven't, because I haven't interviewed anyone. The podcast studio is not ready. And I'm just so far behind on episodes that I haven't had a chance to get in there. But I would be happy to talk to them. Bob Lazar, I don't know what I would ask him that he hasn't answered for the past 30 years. But of all the whistleblowers, if that's what you call them, he's the one I find most credible. David Grush would be interesting, but he's from military intelligence, so I don't trust him. But he was pretty good on Rogan. But he still felt rehearsed to me. Remember, everything he says is approved by the Pentagon. Russell Green for 5. First ever After Files. Well, welcome to the Madhouse. I'm so happy. Can't do weekdays because sleep. Hopefully more weekend live streams. We'll see. We'll see if people like this one. What did we do? We've only lost about 2,000-3,000 folks. Ask Bob Lazar, says Chance. Maybe liars say what? Okay, Chance maybe not a believer. That's fair. Starship and Haiku. What about Edward Snowden? What about him? Thank goodness for him. Let him come home. I think, right? I mean, he's the biggest whistleblower, I think, in the history of our country. What he exposed that the NSA was doing, I covered it in the episode about the Long Lines building, the AT&T building. and Operation Echelon, which is still happening right now. I have the clip of James Clapper, who was running intelligence, lying to the Congressional Committee when he was asked specifically point blank, "Are you capturing Americans' data from our phones?" And he said, "If we are, it's not intentional." We later learned through Snowden's documents that it was very intentional. It was very organized and orchestrated. Not only were they monitoring all of us, they had software inside Google's cloud, Yahoo's cloud, and Microsoft's cloud. So that if you had a Google Drive, they were able to get in there to all of it. Kathy says, "Free Snowden." I say, same thing. Cosmic Void, Snowden's a hero. Look, I understand the need for some national security. And I understand that technically he's a traitor. I do understand that. But it becomes kind of murky when on one hand you're a traitor, but on the other hand, you have exposed a bunch of illegal operations that our government is doing to us. So you're a traitor for exposing the illegal government operations. It's a little tricky, right?
Yeah.
He's a traitor.
But a traitor for exposing traitors' acts? Like,
That's right. That's right. So Bunklin says they use national security as a blanket term. They do. And I mentioned it last week. When you hear them say national security, they're not talking about us. They're not talking about us. They're talking about them, the powerful. That's the national security, not us. People think it's like, to protect American citizens. That's not what they mean. That's not an opinion either. That's
the guy that said, "What about James Snowden?" He was asking if you would interview him.
Oh, I'd love to.
That was his question, not whether or not what you think about him.
Oh, I'd love to talk. I'd love to talk to him. I mean, I have a little running list of people that I would bring in, but I don't know if I'd be able to get Snowden. That's a big get.
Well, it's a big get, and it puts a big target on the channel.
It does, but the target's already there, so I think I can do it. Rogan. It's the way to do it is to sign a big money deal that's just cash in the bank, right? That's the way to do it. I don't have that. So I have to rely on, bowing to the powers that pay the bills. So, I've been attacked for that, for being, he won't talk about these things because it gets demonetized. So he's a sellout. He was only in this for the money. I'm in this to make my living. And if the channel gets hurt or shut down, there goes my living and Jen's and Victoria's and Gino's and the guys and Haley. I mean, we're a bit of a business now, which is kind of annoying. Yeah. But no, I'm not, it's not selling out. It's protecting my family. Besides, I think I get pretty controversial.
You do. You do.
I'm actually surprised that I haven't gotten the knock on the door.
Let's not talk about
or the phone call.
I don't want to put it in the universe.
But I tell people that every time I start my car, okay, which is good. We got through one more day. I park right where we can see it. You guys let me know if you see anyone weird rolling under the car.
Haley's she's like a guard dog, man. She even hears a little noise and she's like, "What?
Yeah.
Who's that? Get away from the building."
That's gingers are very protective. Everybody knows that. Mercy 22, AJ, women are expensive. Just ask Jen. They can be a very expensive hobby. That's certainly true.
Yes.
And Jen is pricey, but she's worth every penny of it.
Oh,
isn't she?
Thank you, dear.
And more. It's another attack I get on Reddit is that Jen is an abused housewife, and I'm a misogynist. I hate women, and I'm abusing Jen, and she can't escape this abusive marriage.
God. Oh my God.
The shame of marriage.
So crazy.
But that's Reddit. I think it's fair to say, now I get moody with everybody, but is it fair to say, Victoria, that I treat that woman like a princess and give
Everybody
her
would be
everything
lucky.
she wants.
Everything she wants.
Everything she wants.
She's treated very well.
If it is within my power, it shall be yours. Derek Morris says that's the knock. Talking about the car bomb. Yeah, that is. It's like, you know, if you hear the shot, it wasn't meant for you. That old saying.
Somebody just said, I need to watch Sleeping with the Enemy.
That's how they portray me, is that, you know, the guy with, I do like the toilet paper a certain way. That's I have to say that.
Well, look, anybody that puts the toilet paper the wrong way, like, that's psycho.
It's psycho. But right now, in the boys' side, it's the wrong way.
Well, somebody put it in the wrong way. That
I'm gonna fix it. It's probably Gino. Gino's kind of like that.
I don't even know what the right way is that you're saying it. I can't. Is it up? I don't know. Which way is the right way?
MAGA Popcorn says remote starter. That's a good call. Diane Given, do you give marital lessons? LOL. No, but I have a couple of videos I could sell you.
Stop it.
All right. That's a joke, of course.
Stop it.
Everyone knows you just sit the TP on top of the holder. Sounds like a Gino move.
Paper goes over the top. If you look at the patent for toilet paper, it goes over.
Over. Teacher 5, what do you think Gino's UFO video is? It looked like drones to me. Can you say hello to my daughters, Aubrey and Macy? Hi, Aubrey and Macy.
Hi.
I don't know what Gino's UFO video is.
You haven't been able to see it. You've been so busy. But again, this is one of the things I talked about for hours with our people and analyzed it. One of our viewers was on live with me on Discord and walked outside and was like, "There's lights all over the sky at 5 a.m. It was 2 a.m. for us." And
but we don't have this video right now.
It's on my phone, and we need to speak about it because there's some interesting details behind it.
Okay, maybe we can get that into the next one.
But it's really interesting. A lot of lights come together, come apart, scan things. It's really interesting.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. Peter wants to see an episode on the Illuminati. Your wish will come true very shortly. There is Lulu for $50.
Yo, loo la la, yo. Fish really need some money. I need to buy some stuff. Fish really need some money. YouTube don't pay enough. Fish really need some money. So click the super chat. Like that.
Lulu continues to be impressed by the care you put into creating such an excellent show. The homeless drop-in center where I work have increasing numbers watching you at night after asking what's a hecklefish from my teas. You're much appreciated. Thanks, Lulu. Thanks for buying the merch, and thanks for the good work that you do.
Yes.
I'm so glad people like you are out there taking care of the homeless. I saw a question in the chat. Arcane Electric, do an episode on Bohemian Grove. He's got the owls in there. That's the symbol of BG. It's on the list, but it's all conjecture. So I can tell what allegedly happens there. Now, as I've said on the show many times about Bohemian Grove, when you get a bunch of rich men together with drugs and alcohol for a week, things are going to happen that are unseemly. A lot of that stuff is hard to put into a YouTube safe episode, but maybe it could be a good podcast where I can just say, the P word, but the stuff they do to kids is what I mean. That's, I really don't want to do that on YouTube, but that's part of the theories. Dan Whiffen says, interview Alex Jones. I think he'd be interesting to talk to, but he's definitely a good way to get the channel hurt. Whatever you think of him. And I don't think that's fair. I think that nobody should be radioactive, no matter what their opinions or thoughts are, First Amendment and such. But YouTube is a business, and they don't like him. But he's been right about a few things. Just Me for 10, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. I appreciate everyone super chatting and super stickering and all of that. We could not do this without you. There's Deidre Green, $10 super sticker.
Booyah! That's the stuff.
Hey, Deidre.
Mike Doty, I don't know why you guys don't use Rumble. We do. We're actually streaming live to Rumble right now.
We are.
So I'm a fan of Rumble. In fact, their chief technology officer just reached out. I need to follow up with him. I think they want to do something. So everything that we do here eventually lands on Rumble. It used to be automatic, but there's a beef, of course, between Rumble and YouTube. They don't like each other. So the automation is broken. But I think we might be, maybe Wild Vision can take that over and keep it up to date or something.
That's what we're working on.
Get all our videos over there. So yeah, so we're on Rumble. But I can't do everything there because there's just not enough money there. You know, I think I made $9 last month. Jason Smith, Mr. Ballin collab. Maybe it'd be fun. I don't think he does those. I don't really do them either. Now I tried to rope Joe Scott into a mini collab last month. I don't want to spoil it in case we do it, but he couldn't do it. But I do talk to a few like creators that you guys follow and like. I talk to more of them than you probably know, like behind the scenes. So if you say hail chat, I know who you're watching. And he's a good friend of mine. Mr. Mythos would be a cool collab too, says Big Rob. I don't know. We're so different. Mr. Mythos and I mean, opposite energies. But maybe could be fun. I don't know if he does interviews or anything. I don't. But Miguel Rumble is great, no censorship. That's true. Wendigoon says Meso. I don't know if Wendigoon does collabs. I don't even know what
he does.
He does.
What a collab would be like with him. Thoughty too. I don't know if he does collabs. His channel's funny. Luton Kamoon shouting out Nerdrotic. Of course, you know I'm a huge fan. Oh yeah, there's all the F&T fans. Hail chat. So you knew who I was talking about. I'm a big fan of Gary. He was just in town. I tried to get out and see him for his meet and greet, but I was too behind in the episode. But next time that there's a Nerdrotic meetup in Vegas, there will be a Y-Files presence there. So Gary's got a good channel. He covers mostly pop culture for geeks. The Zombie Girl for 5. Team Awesome loves you. We love the channel. Listen at work. Weekly Abundant Knowledge, organic delivery. Well, that's amazing. I did not know that. It's always strange to find out who is a fan. I think I mentioned on one of the streams, I was talking to a producer who I can't say too much, but he's putting together a project that would be good for us, meaning the community. But and want me to be a part of it. And I said, I don't know if mainstream Hollywood, I don't think is down with me and my anti-government and all that stuff. And he said, you have no idea how many fans you have in this town. I said, okay. I love that. That's a producer from Sony Pictures. But I get it. I understand it. I've seen people say online, like, I can't tell if AJ is a far post-leftist or he's an ultra-libertarian. I don't know what he is. The answer is yes. You don't know what I am because I'm not labeled. I'm just anti-government. I'm pro-people. Anti-war, anti-government, pro-people. So I don't know what box that puts me in. Hopefully none. On social issues, I mind my business. On economic issues, I like to keep my money. I think those are reasonable. I don't think that makes me far either way. Stephen Britton for $6.99. If it was a viable experiment, someone else would have proved it worked later. I don't know if you're referring to there, Stephen. Maybe if you're you're probably talking about the free energy.
Mm-hmm.
If it was viable, someone would have proved it. My gut reaction is the same as that, same as yours. That if it could work, someone would have done it, and it would be out. That is also my gut reaction. But I was also shocked at how much censorship there is in the patent office. I did not realize that on average, 20 patents a day are sequestered. So we're talking 5,000, 5,300 a year. The government just seizes them for national security, which is not your security. It is theirs.
Right. And that's crazy that they have a whole office that they can just, anything comes in, they can just say, you know what? We're just going to take this patent. You can't patent it. Now it's ours. And we're going to keep it secret.
Yep. So there's more than just a patent review. There's also the security review that goes there. Derek Morris says, stop all labels. I agree. The labels are to make us hate each other.
Yep.
Cassie Adams wants me for president. It would never happen. I'm just too logical. Too logical, too peaceful. Under the tornado, we are controlled. Yes, we are. But we can fight it. We can fight it by just being aware of it. Being aware of that we're being manipulated. Just be aware of it. There's not much we can do about it, but we can be aware of it.
So really quickly, because I've seen 3 or 4 comments. We got an update on the shoes from the company that's making them. They were having an issue with the company that makes the soles. And it looks like they're going to ship mid-June. Mid-July. Late June.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. There we go.
All right, I'm looking at the clock, 6:19 p.m. Pacific. We'll go to 7. We'll go to 7 o'clock. So 41 minutes. I've got quite a few super chats in there. If I don't get to you, I'm sorry, but you're appreciated anyway. Mm-hmm. Kitty2 says a very good comment. AJ, will we get GTA 6 before the apocalypse? Man, I hope so. I hope we can just keep things together until GTA 6 comes out. Can we just... I don't know. When's the release date? It's like 2026, right? Or so?
I don't know.
I wish I was still in the VO game just for that. Because that I would definitely get to do a couple of voices on that game. But I'm out of the biz. Hal for 5. Industrial military complex and the oil cartel won't let it happen. Correct. April 25 is the rumor, huh? Early 25 says OG Lock, so it's 25. End of 25. Okay. Rockstar has a pretty good track record with hitting their marks. Right? Better than Project Red and some of the other studios. GTA 6, Iggy, more like, when are we getting Red Dead 3? I don't even know if that's in the works. I'd love to see it. But Red Dead 2 is where you can hear me doing some voices. But you won't recognize me. Toxic Nets. It's harder to meditate these days for sure. I agree. I am out of practice. Brenda Krieger loves a good Reuben sandwich. The chat can get random, but I also enjoy a Reuben sandwich. Mark Petrie, thank you for the 10. CEO says they will continue with RDR3, says K-Mac. That's good news. I don't follow gaming that closely, so I don't know those answers. So I'm glad that you guys do. I learn way more from this community than you learn from me. Rockstar abandoned Red Dead Online. Yes, I know it was really glitchy. I played it for a little bit. It wasn't fun. Kevin Smith, looking at Sora AI program. It won't be long till everything will be made by AI. I mean, the actors unions and the writers unions are doing everything they can to stop it, but they won't be able to. Sora's Sora's going to come out pretty soon. It looks very, very real. But the demo that we saw was very manipulated also, which they admitted. Destructor AJ are aliens woke. They don't know what that means and they don't care. That's a word to make us fight. The Triple C video channel, Deep State Ops. Would you do a mind map with some topics? That would be a cool idea. I would if I had the time. But that would be a fun thing to throw on the website. Marcus Moore, there it is. AJ works for Central Intelligence. Okay.
Good to know.
I don't know how hard I can hammer the CIA and the intelligence community. Can I hammer it any harder?
Well, that's exactly what.
Well, that's what
an agent would do.
That's what an agent would do. That's the red herring.
Right.
But you see, there's no way around it.
No.
Bernie 2024. No, that will never let it happen. Kathleen, are you guys in New York City? Not any longer. That's where we were born. Born in Vegas now. The CIA AJ. Rammer time. I'm a grip and AI took me Jorb. Grips will always work. There's George B for 10. He loves what we're doing, but please be careful what you say. Remember, they are watching us. They are. Glaucoma looking for a Waffles video game. We're talking about it. I want to do the board game first, though. Hayes, thank you for the lovely comment. 737 Mac AI is beyond the point of no return. I agree. It's out of the tube. Osmodius for 10. Until we can break up the relationship between power and money, the world will continue to go downhill. Unfortunately, I don't see a way for that to happen. There is no way for that to happen. Glenn, AJ, you ever get nervous? Some of these videos, the recent free energy video was crazy. Yes, that one made me nervous. But that video is essentially an extension of a chapter I did on the alien reproduction vehicles, the ARV video, which is pretty cool. That is Mark McCandlish's story about how a coworker of his accidentally found himself on a tour at like a military air show for the military where they show different planes and weapons and stuff. He ends up in this hangar and sees 3 UFOs hovering there of small, medium, large. So that video is all about that. And Mark McCandlish's story ends like so many of these do, with him taking his own life. So then from there, I just sort of listed all the inventors and whistleblowers and how they passed. I just kind of hammered them 7, 8, 9 in a row, which that little chunk of that episode went a little bit viral, which made me nervous. But people were so interested in those names and those inventions that we just kind of expanded it into a full episode. And I think it's dangerous to do. Someone's got to do it. Right? Someone has to do it.
Sure.
What? I know my wife is not a huge fan of it.
No.
There are plenty of people out there trying to blow the whistle on the free energy and all of that, but they're not. They're wacky. You know what I'm saying? They're wacky. I feel like I'm grounded, which maybe makes it more dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe. I just talked to it.
Our community of all videos, that last one was the one that I've got the most outreach on of concern.
Is James for 2 divide and conquer techniques? Talking about making us hate each other through politics. Yes, I agree 100%. Is Richard Kelly 499 figured this out? LOL. My first after files. Why all the UAP sightings in the military confer? Nyen. I don't know, but I agree. One step beyond the singularity. Here we go.
In a landmark legal victory, a Swedish landowner triumphs in the rocky legal battle to keep a massive 14-kilogram meteorite. The appeals court ruled that space rocks rightfully belong to the land where they crash-landed. This meteorite, crafted of iron, made its fiery descent onto private property in Uppland near Stockholm on November 7, 2020. Two geologists were creeping around Johann's property when they discovered it. They initially surrendered it to the Swedish Museum of Natural History. The court sided with the landowner, Johan Benzelstrana von Egerstrom. In a compelling twist, the court declared that all meteorites, though from the cosmos, are essentially part of our earthly landscape. The geologist claimed a Swedish law of Allemansstraten grants freedom to roam the land if they do no harm. However, the judge did overrule their defense of finders keepers on the space rock.
Well, there it goes.
How'd I do on my Swedish pronunciations?
Here you go. I don't know much about the meteorites there, but I do enjoy their meatballs. All right. So that's another quantum singularity episode from Gino there, beyond the thing. James Cameron is here, likes Gino's sports coat. Thorn, is that alien scat? It kind of looked like it. RJ Page is telling Gino, good job pronouncing all that. I thought so too.
It really is the reason I picked that one, because it was so fun to try and pronounce all those words. I think we actually cut a few out that I couldn't pronounce. But the law essentially says in Sweden, everyone's allowed on everyone's property as long as you're doing no harm. However, these two guys decided, hey, we see this meteorite, we're going to pick it up and keep it for ourselves. And they hauled it in thinking they made $1 million. And turns out they don't own it.
Somebody just asked, is that a giant cat or is Jen small?
It's a giant cat.
Both.
Yeah.
I don't realize how big he is until we see someone else's cat.
Right.
We're like, what's that tiny little weird thing?
Right. Is that cat, is it like a kitten?
Yeah, so he's part or mostly Maine Coon, and they get, I mean, he's about that long from his butt to nose. You add the tail, and he's about yay big.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy, but he's a sweet boy.
He's bad,
Both of my boys are sweet.
but they're good.
They're bad because they're spoiled, but I hand raise them. I take them from when they're tiny and I make them wonderful.
You do.
When someone was over and one of the cats was checking him out, it's like, does your cat bite? I'm like, none of my cats have ever bitten or scratched anybody ever. But it's because my animals never know anger.
Right.
They never hear me yell. I don't raise a hand to them except to give them scritches.
Right.
That's just how I raise them. I never show them anger. And they make me angry. They make me angry sometimes.
Yeah, this one will climb up on the back of his chair and get up on the back of his chair and put his paws on his head and
That hurts.
gnaw at his head to get his attention.
And he gets my attention that way.
If he's bored.
Kitty to you with the avatar with the nice tuxedo. Those are my favorite. AJ's a cat man, LOL. I'm an animal guy. I like dogs too. I just can't have one. They're just too much work. Thank you, Jimmy Moreno, for that $9.99. There's Zechariah McBride for 10. First day Patreon subscriber. It's a great way to support your favorite channel. Caught all 3 shows. I left you a message in the paper episode of the last one. Semper Fi. Also, you were mentioned on Sunday Cool Teas today. I don't know what Sunday Cool Teas is, but I'll check that out.
Yeah.
But Semper Fi, Marine. Thank you for your service. Peter Davison, 10 Aussie. Speaking of pyramids, isn't the Great Pyramid and consorts set out like Orion, where some people believe we came from? Yes. The layout of Giza matches the layout of Orion mostly. But if you hear Graham Hancock tell it matches when 13,000 years ago, I think he says. And it's end of Younger Dryas. Lines up Orion. I don't know. If I had to wager, I'd say it's an accident, but it's a very interesting theory. There's Taco Zach. Just made me hungry. I mean, that's why we're wrapping at 7 is I got to eat.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the second chamber? Would that make it 2 times power for the pyramids? Probably not. Maybe. I'm just thinking, if the hydrogen molecules are maxed out, then they're just maxed out. But I don't know if that's really how it worked. But if it is, that theoretically another chamber should make it more powerful. You got my brain tickled there, Taco. There's Mark for 5. May the 4th be with you. And may it be with you as well.
Wait. I need to find out what this guy's talking about. Paul, did you say that you ordered some of our shoes online from Amazon for $210? What?
Nope.
No.
Nope. There's bootleg merch on there.
Bootleg.
Our shoes were $99 and you could only get them through our website and you could only get them during the pre-order period.
Paul, if you're on the Discord, please send a ticket with the information. We want to see that.
Yes, please.
So this is all stuff on Amazon. Fear the Crowd Cat, Y-Files. Don't buy this stuff. This is bootleg.
None of this is ours. We
None
don't
of
have
this is ours.
any merch on Amazon.
Yeah, we don't use Amazon for anything. So that's all fake stuff.
Write to Amazon and complain about these.
We are.
Yeah, so that stuff should be down soon. But boy, a lot of people searching for our stuff. There's Y-Files Hecklefish sneakers. Let's see. Didn't find any.
Okay.
Wi-Fi sneakers.
But who knows? Maybe they were there. Maybe, sorry about that. But there's not much we can do. Love and let live. If they're on Amazon, then they're resells, and that shouldn't be allowed. All that stuff I just showed you aren't resells. They're just people making t-shirts. Now, part of me doesn't mind because it kind of promotes the channel out in the world. But it's just not right to profit off someone else's ideas.
Every part of me minds.
Jen does not like it at all.
And it really even can't be resellers for the shoes because the shoes haven't even been delivered yet.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Ari Signum, I saw the Wi-Fi's on Prime Video. Is that legit? That is legit.
Yes.
Still waiting to see a penny from all that stuff, but you'll see us on Amazon Prime, Tubi, the Roku channel, places like that. Who's our distributor?
For what?
For all the other shows. What's their name again?
FilmRise.
FilmRise. People will know that. So FilmRise sends the show out to a bunch of different places. So that's legit. Abstract saying too legit to quit. So I think he's what he's talking about. Right? Is that from Hammer Don't Hurt Him?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Hammer gets the gas face though.
For some reason, Black Sheep was in my head the other day, and I thought it might be cool to have Hecklefish sing a version of Who's the Black. You guys remember Who's the Black Sheep? Yeah. What's the Black Sheep? You don't remember that one, Jenny?
No.
It's a big
Jenny,
one.
you're usually pretty good on the old school hip hop. Oh, that's not old school. That's like 90s hip hop.
Well, yeah, that's old school. We're in 2024.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I go back to Molly Mall.
Yeah.
Right? And Grandmaster Flash. Gina remembers listening to Hot 97.
Gino, who was it that we had in our studio in Burbank?
We had from Tupac's group, Digital Underground, we had Little B. What's his name?
Not Be Real.
I can't believe I can't remember his name offhand.
Oh, you'll find it. He did a pretty good show.
Yeah.
On like old school hip hop, which you wouldn't think there's that much there to mine, but it was really great. Dark Moore's Hot 97, home of hip hop. Yeah, we used to listen Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, says Marcy James. That's going back. I know Dougie's songs by heart. 6 minutes, you're on. And all those Fat Boys.
That's
in the early 80s, we would listen to
Money B.
Money B. In the early 80s, we would listen to our stepbrother Greg is older. You know, he's 6 years older than me. So he was into that stuff. So that's how we learned about old school hip hop, is he would listen to those shows late at night.
I mean, AJ can rap every Slick Rick lyric to you. He will do the entire song. If that comes on.
I know every Slick Rick.
Danny, and we were just watching Crisscross jump the video last night on TV. AJ and I were.
It popped into my head. So I just had to put it on. You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Mac Daddy make you
jump.
Crisscross to make you
jump.
That was a jam.
It was.
I want to find out what happened to those guys. Ash Wills says the Fat Boys are hilarious. They were indeed. Lars, remember Molly Mall? I certainly do. Eric B and Rakim. Yep. VT says Flava Flav. Of course.
Hung out with Flava Flav just this year.
You got to see Flav?
Yeah, we were backstage at the Jelly Roll concert. I got good video of me and him talking, and then as we were like talking during the concert, Jelly Roll was like in the crowd, and he's like coming back to the stage. You know how a guy will do that, and Flava Flav goes like this. Hold on, Gino, and then stops the whole concert to talk to Jelly Roll. He
was a weirdo. But yeah, the Flava Flav, of course, from the great Public Enemy, maybe one of the best rap groups of all time. That the only time we got to hear PE was on those late night shows because the radio wouldn't play Public Enemy.
Right.
Yeah.
But AJ would as loud as possible. So everyone on our block knew we were PE fans for sure.
And it's so funny because when the last cassette that I bought of Public Enemy, it wasn't. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. I don't think it was that one. I think it might have been the Terradome. I went into the flea market. It's me and like three of my boys. We go up to the hip hop stand, and we're just like the whitest kids ever. And just, you know, the young black dudes are like, y'all into this music? Like, hell yeah, we're down with PE. Public Enemy #1. 50 said freeze.
Somebody just said Pickle Rick.
And by the way, just one quick note. I interviewed Chuck D back when I was with MTV. Maybe one of the most intelligent people I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like mind-blowingly smart. So shout out PE from Roosevelt, Long Island. Imports still suck for 5. Are you familiar with Robert Sepper? He talks a lot about Agartha. I'm not familiar with him. I'm familiar with the Agartha legends. I've covered it.
He's very interesting. He wrote a book, I think, called "A Species with Amnesia," which Graham Hancock mentions often. He's a archaeologist and definitely worth looking into. Robert Zephyr. He's someone I would love to interview if anyone knows him.
Put him on the list.
Yeah.
Thorne saw Primus, Anthrax, and Public Enemy in Oklahoma City. That's a show. That is a show.
People are asking when you worked for MTV.
What's that?
People are asking when you worked for MTV.
2004 to 7, and then again 2008 and 9 in LA. In New York, it was MTV and VH1 on Sirius XM radio is where I worked. I just climbed from local radio. I just climbed to Sirius XM.
And what a lot of people won't really understand is AJ when he says that, he was doing a million things at once because we always had our own businesses that we were working at as he was also doing that. So he was always pulling double duty and sometimes quadruple duty.
Yep.
Hey, look, the overnights at WBAB, I had the top rated show in the market. And the simulations listening, because Sandsler just said in 102.3 LOL, WPLJ, Roger and JP are still on air. Roger and JP are still on air. And the great Roger Luce was the reason that I had so much success at BAB was because of Roger. Now, Gino and I had known Roger from our other business, just doing some tech for him. We helped put his studio together. And then just by chance, I got the gig over at BAB from WMJC. So I kind of already had the in there with Roger and JP with the morning show, big time morning show. And Roger is someone who believed in me very early on and got me that gig. I took over Opie and Anthony's spot.
That was one of the studios we put together. Another one was Wu-Tang Clan.
We did put together Wu-Tang's studio. And man, they would just leave all the drugs out.
That's exactly
I walked in and said,
I wasn't going to say
I've been around a long time. I've never seen this many drugs in one place. And like in an empty room, like we were waiting for the meeting, and it's just like, damn, man, there's a lot of drugs in here.
And we were really just kids at the time in our 20s.
We were in our early 20s. Neil says, my name is Mud. I get a little Primus reference.
Primus, still my favorite artist to watch. Go see Primus, and Les Claypool is the best.
Great live show. I'm just checking out the chat. Kevin says, now look, I do believe the show is going to be the biggest thing ever on YouTube. That's very nice of you to say. I completely disagree.
I don't.
But it's very nice of you to say. Mike D, you guys from Staten Island? No, we're born in the Bronx, but lived all over the New York area.
The boys are. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Victoria's from South. She's a Southern girl.
I'm a Southern girl.
She's a Southern girl. Krypton Big Brown Beavers. Definitely knows his Primus. MH5 Canadian thoughts on the new sudden infection caused demise of the recent Boeing whistleblower.
Second one.
Second one. Yeah.
2 months.
I was taking a plane the other day, and I saw a pilot, and on his bag he had a tag. It's fly Boeing or don't fly at all. And I was thinking, what a weird tag to have, especially right now.
That is weird.
Yeah, well, maybe he doesn't want to get deleted, so he's
right.
Support.
Jeff, have you ever researched the mud flood? I know all about that urban legend. I haven't covered it because it's a new urban legend. There's not a lot of information on it, and it's not a super fun story because it's not that credible. Because if it happened a long time ago, it'd be easier. But the mud flood was supposed to happen right at the turn of the 19th and 20th century. So, like when I'm talking about Wardenclyffe Tower and Tesla, there's supposed to be the Earth is supposed to be like flooded by mud at the same time. So it's not a credible urban legend yet. People will build on it, and then I'll cover it.
We even did all the research and tried to write a script on it, but there's just not enough there.
There's not.
So
Paul Manlett just joined as a member on Patreon. I appreciate that. Appreciate everyone joining on Patreon. It's the best way to support us is your Patreon. And you get good perks. Videos early. The live streams are just for members are super fun.
Could I say one thing about the mud flood?
Okay.
It's interesting, but the old architecture has nothing to do with an urban legend. Our old architecture has been lost, and it's an interesting part of that legend that, regardless of the truth or not of the mud flood, should be investigated of why things have changed so drastically compared to what we used to have.
Because we have machinery now that does it. People. That's
there's not enough there. Gino sometimes reaches. It's fine. Incense Man for 10. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's okay to reach. It's good to have other points of view.
Absolutely.
Danielle, I can't find your Montauk episode. I tried search. Did that one get slammed? Because that does happen. It could be 6 months later we get hit.
Which one?
Which one? Montauk Experiment or Montauk Monster?
Montauk Monster?
I didn't do a whole video on the Montauk Monster. It could be the one about the Montauk Project.
Right. It has to.
With Preston Nichols, where I was a big fan of his until I found out how awful he was.
I mean, sometimes in our titles, it's not exactly in the title, so we might have said something like this we might have called it experiment or something.
The Montauk Project, worse than you think.
Oh, well.
Okay.
It's right there.
Marcus for 31. Love you guys and all you do. Thank you for the support, my friend. Armchair Engineering for 5. I was laid off in November. Sorry to hear that. Found your channel, watch every video throughout the night, every night. You got me through a hard time. I'm great now, new job. Congratulations, my friend.
Yay!
And I'm glad that we were there for you. That's great news. Sir Ian, Sir Ian, what's your opinion of David Grush? I've covered this a few times. I don't trust him. I want to believe him, but I don't trust anyone from military intelligence, because when you're in the intelligence industry, you're never, ever out. You don't retire from it. You know, just follow Richard Doty's story and how it's changed. So I want to believe David Grush, but I'm very skeptical because he comes from Air Force intelligence. You know, specifically Air Force intelligence has been a culprit. You know, the Office of Special Investigations, OSI. But we know for a fact that Grush, everything he says is approved by the Pentagon. That's not whistleblowing to me. That sounds like public relations.
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
I'd love to interview him, though.
Stephanie Womack for 5. I'd love for you to explain plasma engineering. To explore plasma engineering. Okay. I can get into that. I was going to talk a little bit about it during the free energy episode, because plasma is core to the technology. The plasma meaning the state of matter. But I just felt like it's a little too technical. But if we do when we do the apocalypse episode, we'll talk all about plasma. Import still suck for 10. Familiar with Robert Sepper, pronounced Sepper. He's an anthropologist, talked about the history of swastika, Agartha, Antarctica, planetary symbolism. You know, the cool stuff. Victoria, write him down.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one I mentioned earlier about species with amnesia.
Yep,
an archaeologist.
Yeah, we'll write to him. We only got 11 minutes left. I'm going to try and get through these super chats, if y'all don't mind. Michael Alice for 20. Would love an episode in the U.S. World Shadow Government. Good source would be Daniel Sheehan's Rulers of the Realm lecture series and Peter Leven's Sinister Forces books.
He's going to be a contact at the desert.
Yep. We're doing the Illuminati, so maybe we can cover that kind of stuff there. Stephen Buonanno. Happy New Year. National parks. I don't know what you're asking. Maybe
411.
Probably missing 411. I usually leave those stories to David Pilates. Daydream Believer 20. How does 0-point propulsion work? I don't have time to get into that, but it has to do with creating its own gravity and electromagnetic field around the object that puts it in a different phase of existence. So there is no air resistance, there's no water resistance, so forth. It's almost like a different dimension of reality is how that would work. That's my bullet point answer. Yep. That's how you get through the Van Allen radiation belt. Tyler Grimm for 5. Hey, when we do the HARP machine that controls the weather, and there's a lot of alien and past cryptid stuff, I hope you do spread the truth. I will do a HARP episode. It's come up plenty of times, and we might as well do it. I'm talking to the girls. We might as well do it because it's an easy one. I know all about it.
And at this point, we know that the government is manipulating the weather and seeding clouds.
Right. Many governments doing that. Russell Green for 5. Sell foot massager shaped like Hecklefish called them Victoria's Secret foot massager.
I don't see anyone writing.
Wow.
Good one.
Love it. There's Declan. Stay safe out there. You know, the banks in Australia are starting to go cashless. New World Order is in play over Australia. That's part of the plan.
Yep.
Part of the plan. Centralized money backed by nothing. Ray Robinson, everybody should own a little crypto. I don't give financial advice. I can't do that. I won't do that. I can only tell you what I do. And I do hold crypto and some precious metals in a higher percentage than you're supposed to. Ray Robinson for 5. Great episode. Would love to know your thoughts on an episode about Lake Lanier in Georgia. I don't know anything about it, but if you email it over, I'll take a look.
Flash tips.
There's Aki Bois for 50.
I do this stupid show just to make a little bread. You know it's not easy to keep my guppies fed. Bills up to here and I'm getting really stressed. I'm almost out of vodka, my car got repossessed. I come on the stream and I beg for some dough. You say you can't afford it, your money's kinda low. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
I ain't going for that. I just ain't going for that. Human, you got what I need. So hit that super chat. Click it just like that. Oh, human, you got what I need. I need a super chat. Click that super chat.
Ooh. We're taking a look at Starlink. 12,000 approved, impossible total 34,000. Current total satellite numbers before Starlink, 6,000 manufacturing launch costs. Only 3-year lifespan before needing replacing costs. Does not stack up. Artificial magnetic field. That's an interesting idea. I don't think that would work that way. Scientifically, I just don't think it would work that way. Even 34,000 satellites around the Earth, you would barely be able to see from one to the other. It's so big. So I don't know if that's enough to alter the magnetic field or create one. But that is a really fun theory, though. That's a really fun theory. Yeah, I didn't do an episode on Dyson Sphere, did I?
Yeah,
Or
we mentioned it, but
space superstructures. It might be fun to do Dyson Sphere or Ring World, stuff like that.
Yeah, we haven't done that one yet.
Richard Kelly, the phrase UAP was coined by scientists who showed up on Skinwalker Ranch 4th season on. I believe that. Army Nation, subscribe, people, worth it. I think so. Someone was just saying hitting subscribe gives you an ad. I don't know what that means. If that's now a thing, that's not something that we do or have control over.
No, I subscribe to new channels all the time because I actually do subscribe to channels and I don't get ads when I do that. But I also have YouTube Premium or whatever. So
yeah, same. Yeah, I don't know.
Peter Griffin says, "Dude, you look 30 at most," because he found my real age.
Oh.
I mean, look at Jenny and I. We look like we're 35, 34. You do.
Jen does.
Because she's got the tall white genetics.
Yep.
Triple C's back. Please consider doing deep dives into more controversial subjects on somewhere safe like Rumble. They take less of a cut in their super chat thing. I wish I could, Triple C. And if there's ever more time, then I'll do those over there. But in the meantime, the controversial ones become podcasts and unredacted. And you could get, it's easy to find the White Files podcast if you search for it. We're on every platform that you could think of.
Somebody just said your wife looks like a vampire.
Yeah, she's not really as pale as she looks there. She has actually some blood in her veins.
It's the lighting in here.
It's just the lighting. Heckle made me do it. Yeah, I've tried that myself. There's Eva Special Interest 20 question. Have you done a deep dive on the eyewitnesses that had firsthand encounters in the 50s, 60s in rural England, or the boy was taken repeatedly in South Africa in the 70s, 80s? I think I've covered some of the encounters in rural England during that time. I can't think of any specifically, but I've covered a couple. South America, no, I haven't. But I pay attention to the stories about South America and UFOs and such because they have a lot of good stories down there that we up here don't really hear.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of good stories in South America. So Melissa Taylor 5, we love and support you. For a lot of us, you bring joy and family to our lives. Oh, just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Melissa. It's very nice of you. That is why we're here. We're here for fun, to make you smile. I'm not here to get everything right. just here to help you kill time and smile. Asprey writes for 10, best YouTube channel of all time. Yes, she looks gorgeous. She certainly does. She does. Michael Sadju for 20. So happy this finally an After Files. Why are you debunking on my guy, Billy Carson? He makes some wild claims. There's some that make a lot of sense. Would love to see you debunk him. Thanks and be safe. I wouldn't go after him hard and specifically because he's very active on podcasts and out in the world. And I'm not looking to have a public beef.
And as storytellers, we could admit he's a good storyteller.
He is,
Right.
and he looks like a nice guy. But I don't believe most of what he says. Dharma Krez, thank you for 50. Just want to stop by and show some love. Happy Saturday, Wi-Fi's friends. I appreciate that, Dharma. Double Pitch 2 Chesty. Thank you for the 50. Deep 6 for $100. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Ooh, I like the way you tip me. No diggities. Just tip me up.
Finally got my wife and daughter hooked. You guys are awesome. Well, so are you.
Danny Stormborn will hit you up on Discord.
Oh, asking for Jen's stylist.
Well, Victoria, she wants to know who Victoria and I go to.
Right.
Jen, yeah. Too.
Patty Hunt saying no to Billy Carson. I kind of agree.
I would like to interview him. I'd like to talk to him.
That would be something you would talk to him about because I would confront.
Yes.
I wouldn't attack, but I have questions. Cooley, thank you for that 20. Carol dropping a deuce. Meaning $2. Love you guys. Thanks for the great episode. People asking what Jen's eating. I think it's porridge.
No.
It's iced.
She's chewing ice. One of her few bad habits, which I can't really get on her about because, boy, she's dropping a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
Giving up caffeine.
I haven't had caffeine since Wednesday. No Diet Coke.
No Diet Cokes. You haven't had really any carbs or sugar.
Nope.
And surprisingly, you haven't punched anyone in the face.
I haven't.
But
great move.
nicotine has been getting you through.
It has been.
Me too. Old timer, radio nut. Do you have any stories about working on Don Barris and Scary Pena? Those guys are nuts. Want to get a story about them if you had one? Big fan. I haven't, but that could be a good story.
Those are those are people from the Comedy Store, and Don Barris, one of the greatest comics ever. Check out Windy City Heat on YouTube. Excellent.
All right, Jackson Cagle, thank you for the $2. So, Wi-Fi's, you guys rock. Appreciate that. Rick and Havoc for 20. It's awesome to see all the love that goes into the Wi-Fi's. Warms my heart to see the pride, love, and joy in your faces watching track 7. You're all just squishy magic.
Oh, I love that.
It's track 7 from the Wi-Fi's musical, the original Broadway cast. So Iggy Bros again is a member of Oak Island's author's website, Ghost of Bacon. There's a much bigger story behind the scenes. Well, email it to me.
Yes.
If there's a bigger story, email it to me and I will tell it. Anthony is obsessed with the channel, man. Great stuff. I appreciate your support, my friend. There's Lori Gibby for 20. Loves this show. It helps me with job burnout. Have you done the Giants of, I think you're saying Kandahar. I talked about the Giants of Kandahar in the Giants episode. The Giants of Kandahar is not a real thing. That is a debunked story. But there is some evidence of Giants that I couldn't debunk. And we're going to cover the Giants of Malta shortly. because it was something that I talked about on the Unexplained, and just chatting to them about it, I was like, this would make a good Wild Files episode. The Giants of Malta and the subterranean labyrinth that's down there, and the Lois Jessup story. It was a National Geographic. She went down sort of spelunking. Gino, I'm not going to let you. She went down sort of spelunking and hit a platform and saw the giants. A tour guide wouldn't follow her. There's Thailand for 100. As you definitely made days listing your podcast and videos while on the road. I've rewatched many. I've put 80,000 on the road just last year. Wow. Driving truck. Keep up the great work. Also love the Lizard People hoodie. And you can fist this coffee mug cup. That is a good one. I don't think you can see it. There it is. Right. It's right behind me. It says right on it, you can fist this mug, because you can. I'm just scrolling and scanning. Get these done. Kira, thank you for the 20. This is me and my dad's favorite channel. When I was back home, we'd sit down and watch Wild Files together. Oh, that's nice.
I love that.
Let's do that. And she's got her plague mask in there. She's one of us. Big Rob, thanks for the 50. Watches every premiere. You looked into the skull experiments. I have. A years-long experiment in communication with the other side. Saw Doc and it was fascinating. Would make a great video. I agree. That's been on our list for a while, actually. Skull experiments. So we have some afterlife stories coming up, because I'm very interested in that, specifically the Journey of Souls, and some of Ray Moody's work. We've got stories coming up on that stuff. Find it fascinating, and I believe a lot of it. For being a sort of a skeptic, I believe in a lot of that soul group, soul energy between lives stuff. Lee Priest, looking buff. Thank you for the 80. G'day from Australia. Greatest show. Appreciate you, mate. Sean Katie likes the content. I appreciate the support. There's Joe Ferguson for 10 to an episode on sleep paralysis. You've hit topics surrounding it, but a full episode on sleep paralysis would be amazing. How people see the same things according to region, aliens, Hatman, old hag, etc. That's true. I mentioned that in the shadows, in the
shadow people.
In the Hatman episode.
In the Hatman episode. I even told my own shadow person experience that I had with the old hag was, to this day, the scariest thing that ever happened to me. And I don't believe in it. And yet it was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. But I mentioned in the episode that I think people tend to see the same things because our brains are wired the same. But there could be more there. If you get into lucid dreaming, you learn very quickly what sleep paralysis really is and how terrifying it could be to be conscious through it, because it's part of your training as a lucid dreamer is to get through that part, and you can and it's hard. It's hard. Pelagic for $100 wants to say that Primus sucks. $100.
That's actually a positive thing. At the concerts, everyone's chanting, Primus sucks.
Oh, okay.
Sucks. Yeah.
I know you don't want anybody to interrupt, but the video just hit 1 of 10.
Wow. Amazing. Gary Stanley for 50. Thank you for the super sticker. I just don't want to get lost in too many tangents. Can we get a video of quantum immortality, says Jay? Maybe I can make that digestible. Because I was just researching something very close to that. So that could be fun. There's Aiden, donation to make Hecklefish switch to rum instead of vodka. Love the show. It's got me through some tough times. It's like a security blanket. Oh, we're like your whoopee.
I love that.
I'll talk to him about the rum, but I don't think it's going to take.
No.
But I have seen him enjoy a dark spiced rum from time to time. Lee Priest is back, lives in Australia. I went to take 5,000 out of the bank. I questioned for 10 minutes. Yep. What I was doing with it and what it was for. I went to take 5,000 out of the bank. I got questioned for 10 minutes for its use. In the United States, it's $10,000. You take out 10,000 and it's an automatic. They file an automatic suspicious activity report, an SAR, for 10,000 on a withdrawal here. We don't get questioned. At least I haven't been, but they do take note of it.
Right.
Jeremy Suley for 5. You guys should visit that power plant thing in Egypt and vlog it. Got hooked from watching the Agartha episode on shrooms. Keep doing what you're doing. I think the Wild Files is fun to watch stoned, but Everyone do their own thing. That's going to do it. Thanks, everyone, for supporting. I appreciate it. Victoria did a great job. Thank you.
Thanks.
There she goes and takes her toes with her. Gino, nice job on the quantum singularity performances.
Thank you.
And the newscaster. Those were fun. Jenny, as always, appreciate your help.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
There she goes, looking corpsey but beautiful. Thanks to everyone for super chatting tonight. We could not do this without your support. You are who we do this for. The best way to support us is through Patreon. It's cheap, $3 to become a Patreon member. The higher your donation, the more perks you get. But I think the best perk is the private live streams, where it's not 10,000 people and the chat's going crazy. We can actually interact like people and have conversations, and we do. And so we got some characters on there. So anyway, thank you for supporting through Patreon. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you for buying the merch. And most of all, thank you for watching the After Files. If I could find it, Hecklefish will sing you out.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I swam down each and every highway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all, it's all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a fish? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of what it is. Our record shows I took the blues and did it my way. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for the Wild Files House Band. You guys sounded great tonight. And take care of those waitresses, will you? All right. Everybody get home safe. This is Hecklefish. And you know what? I did it my way.